Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. As usual, this is Sunil. I welcome you all to this exciting session on DevOps project. Okay, I welcome one and all for this training. Okay, so it's time to introduce Mr. Sharma. Good morning, Sharma sir. How are you?
Hi Sunil, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time for delivering
It's
this
my
session.
my pleasure, my pleasure. And
Thank
good
you.
morning all. Good morning.
Yes, thank you, sir. So, shall we start the presentation, sir? So I'll make you the host. Okay.
Sure.
So, um, so that you can start sharing the screen.
Yeah, sure.
You are the host now, sir.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. Let me know whether my screen is visible or not. Is
Yes,
my
sir.
screen visible?
Your screen is perfectly visible. Okay.
Great, great, great.
Thank you, sir. Very warm
Thank you.
morning. Good morning for you. And
Sure, sure.
before starting, I just want to give a quick introduction about our participants. Okay, so all our participants
Mhm.
are few participants are freshers who want to get into the dream IT job, and
Mhm.
few participants are people who are from other technologies like testing on mainframes or some other technologies like production
Mhm.
support. They want to get
Great.
into the better latest technology, that is AWS and DevOps. So this is a quick
Mhm.
background of the participants. They already have, most of them are already completed my training on AWS and DevOps. So this is a
Great.
quick background
Good.
of the participants, sir. Yes.
Nice, nice, nice.
Okay.
Good to
So,
hear that.
so one question, sir. So this next 2 hours of training, so will it help them in their interviews or resume preparation, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
So the next 2 hours, whatever we are delivering, sir, so will it help them
Mhm.
in their resume preparation? Can they keep these points in their resume? Will it help them in, can they
Yes,
project
yes.
this in the interview?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. Sunil. See,
Okay.
every aspect of DevOps is about hands-on. Have you worked?
Okay.
Have you know the technologies? Do you know the technologies which are being used in the real-time environments, whether it is production or setting up the other ancillary environments like Dev and QA? Do you know basic the in and out of what goes into making and building pipelines and everything?
Yeah.
Like how do you troubleshoot, and these all things will be covered here, and
Okay.
definitely it would be a great asset if our participants learn and
Okay.
try these things
Okay.
at their own comfort. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. So after this session, sir, do you share any document so that they can do also
Yes,
practice
yes, definitely
whatever
we will
they're
be
attending,
providing.
a supporting document or something like that, sir?
Yeah,
You may,
yeah, definitely. Wherein they can every step is explained in detail, so that even
okay.
a fresher can try their hands on and see for
Okay.
themselves that how they can
Okay.
build a pipeline by themselves.
Okay, so thank you very much. I know it's very complex to design a project which helps them in this kind of, because all projects cannot be practically implemented and shown, isn't it? So what we cannot replicate whatever with the infrastructure we have in the real world. But
Sure.
thank you for your efforts so to make this available to the participants, which will help them in making their career, sir. Okay.
Yes, definitely,
Thank you,
definitely.
sir. So very excited. May I know the project title, sir, and a brief outline what exactly we are planning to do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, hello guys. Welcome back to this energetic and fantastic Sunday morning, where we are going to learn few things which are definitely going to help you in your career as a DevOps engineer and propel your career towards further heights. So today's project is about continuous delivery. Okay. In the last session, I don't know how many of you have attended that session, and even if you have attended, since there has been much gap between that session and this session, so I would be explaining you, like, in this session we are going to build a pipeline from starting to scratch. Okay.
So some
When I
participants
mean,
directly attending this session, they have not attended the previous session, so, previous
no
joint session.
problem. We will give you we will give them a head start. We will allocate a few minutes, 10-15 minutes on explaining like what is CI, what is CD, and then continuous delivery is not separate from continuous integration. They both go hand in hand with each other. So if many of you don't know continuous integration, then there is no point in explaining continuous delivery totally new to the new participants. So what I would be doing is I would be catering to the freshers and those who might have who might need a small touch up and brush up for the concepts. So I will give brief introduction to the whole project once, then explain the concepts of CI once, and then what we have done in the project, and then onwards major part of the major chunks I'm going to introduce today are they're going to take some time. So that's why we'll be allocating major part to CD, but I would be introducing you to concepts of CI also, and explaining you that how this is linked to the continuous delivery.
Okay, sir. Perfect. Thank you.
Please let me know whenever my pace of explanation is too fast, or if you need anything else, Sunil, please let me know so that we would correct accordingly.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
So with this, can we let's get into the session?
Yes, sir. We are ready to start. We are ready to go. Okay.
Okay, great then. So guys, this session, as I have explained, is majorly about continuous delivery, but it would give you the whole some explanation about how a continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline is built from starting to ending. So let's imagine like you are a fresher. So if there are some experienced guys out there, if who know the environment, please bear with me for some time and empathize with your fresher friends, so that I'm catering to the fresher friends first. So who are starting into the career, so they don't know much of that. So a 5 to 10 minutes explanation I would give to brush up about what is CI and CD. So coming to the basics of these things, whenever a developer codes, right, a set of developers will be there who will be coding in their respective languages, like whether it is Java or whatever the application they are developing. Let's assume that it is a Java web application. Then the coders will be committing their code to a common repository or Bitbucket or something. So what pushing the code to a common place where the code is all kept. Once it is there, now the whole code is not to be tested separately. They have to be as a bulk, how as a package, how it is being performed and how the application is running. And so for that we do something called build. Build is nothing but so once the build completed, we make the build to go through certain tests. So certain tests such as unit test, integration test, and static code analysis, etc. So to put it simply, okay, whether a particular code has any syntax and bugs and some other things will be tested by unit tests and other things. Whether the whole code is integrated properly with each component, each individual coders or the developer's code is matching properly with other things. These things are tested with integration test, and then static code analysis will check for certain things like code smells, that means redundant. You need to optimize your code, right? So for such things we have to understand. Don't worry, you listen, just absorb the concept, and when I provide you the document, you can understand like what is it, and you can Google and you can learn about it. Once these tests are completed, you can see in the screen like there is a pipeline over here, okay, several steps there. Once the tests are completed, is ready to be further testing, then what do? We create an identical environment like how the real world environment will be. Like for example, let's say a Gmail application you are developing, right? Okay, who are the end users? You and me, right? We are going to access our mail IDs, our inbox from the application. So for that, if we are the end users, the application is visible to us. So we need to test that if n number of users, like for example, 1 lakh users have direct contact with the application at a time when they hit the application or access the application, how it is performing, like stress testing, and whether the application is performing as it is expected or not. To test all these real world scenarios, we need something which is identical to the production or real world. So when you need to remember few DevOps terminologies, guys. When you say in the interviews these terminologies, it reflects that you are a professional, you are an experienced guy. Okay, that's the main motto here. So when you want to create an identical environment like the real world at the production, that is called staging. We also have several names to it. We call it pre-prod. Okay, we call it multiple names like UAT environment and other things like that. So basically, we call it here, as of this demonstration, we call it staging. That is also common.
So
Yeah.
Sharma, staging is something like a before production, it will have replica of production, sir, that instance?
Yes, it should be exactly like production, so that we can test all the things which we cannot do in the production.
Before
Because
going to
once the
production.
application goes, yeah, correct. Once the application goes live, right, when it is open to the public, we don't meddle with it. We
Yes.
leave it. We
Yes.
don't do any changes. So before that, we need to have a place where we need to exactly test the application in all manners. Like
We don't want any surprises once it is moved into production.
yeah, exactly. Clients don't like surprises. Okay, client wants stability. So for that stability purpose, we need to provide them with something called a foolproof or at least to the best of our ability, whatever we can produce, we can prove we can provide them in the staging environment. We
Okay.
give them a demo of that in the staging.
Okay, sir.
So guys, from staging environment, what do? We perform all the tests. And here at this juncture, one of the most important tests which commonly applied across all the organizations or most of the organizations is automated testing. Automated testing involves several aspects, but for the simplicity purpose, we are here going to uh, analyze or test whether the application is performing from the user interface side. For example, whether you are going to see the login screen or not, whether you are able to log in or not. These things, these two simple aspects, we are going to test in our application.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once we are sure that yes, our application is also working fine in the staging environment, what do? We upgrade or we promote the build to the next environment, that is called production or real world. So in this demonstration, what we are going to discuss, we will see how source code management checkout is there, how we are picking up the code using a tool called Jenkins, and then how we are building it and testing it in using multiple levels of testing like unit test, and then integration test and code analysis or static code analysis. We are going to use some tools like that, and then we are going to release that into a thing called artifact. Again, another terminology which I am using here is release. When you hear the word release, release means your build is ready and you are saving that tested build. Now it is called artifact. Okay, guys, let me clear you again. Artifact is a terminology we use for a build after initial testing. Once this artifact is ready, we will save it somewhere. Like how we save our files in Google Drive, we will save these artifacts in something called artifactory, Nexus repository. Okay, this helps us in many ways. I will explain you like when we come to that stage.
Sir, you mean to say like how developers will save the code into GitHub repository?
Yes.
Similarly, artifact, once it is built, so there is also repository where all the artifacts are stored, sir?
Yes, exactly. Because we cannot save artifacts and other things in GitHub like repositories. We need a separate place where we save that thing called binaries. Binaries are non-text documents, are non-coded, non-editable, some things like that.
It's
So those are
files.
called binaries, and we save them in Nexus or any artifact. That process
so
of
Nexus is an
saving
example of an artifact repository.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
Sonatype Nexus 3 is an example which we are using here for our demonstration purpose. servers.
So we can
And
also have versioning in artifacts in such case in Nexus.
yes, absolutely sure. Because whenever our artifact is not performing, our build is not performing properly, then we can roll back to the newer versions and we can redeploy to the or roll back to the older version. For that, versioning is necessary. Versioning, guys, means simply keeping track of what is created first and how is it updated to the next level, like that.
Okay, perfect. Interesting.
So then what we are going to do, we are going to from the artifactory, we are going to deploy that artifact or nothing but the build we have created to the staging environment. Staging environment is nothing but few servers like a Tomcat server for web application to be running, and another server where database and other things like message queuing and caching and other things are there. Again, see, this is an end-to-end pipeline, guys. Okay, so it is not possible to pack in everything in 3 hours because it takes 30 days to set up the entire pipeline or 15 days to set up entire pipeline. But what I'm going to give you is a glimpse of what happens in the real time, and going through the document which we are going to provide you. You work on it and you set up each step. Okay, in this session you just listen. If you don't understand, no problem, make a note of it and then Google it, or make a note of it, and when we present the document to you, you then execute those steps, or go through those steps. So coming back to the discussion, where are we? We are at the staging now. Once we proceed from staging environment, staging environment is nothing but a server which is similar to the real world servers or production servers, where we perform testing. Now we perform certain, what did I say earlier? We will test how the application is performing in logging screen and visibility wise and other things. So for that, we will make use of a tool called Selenium, which is most rapidly and most widely used tool by automation testers. Okay, there are
Selenium
many other tools. Yes, Selenium.
Okay, it's
is
a
used
testing
for
automation testing tools.
Yes.
Okay.
Automation testing tool. We will. We are not going to
As a DevOps
write
engineer, we
any
don't need to
code.
worry about Selenium code and all those things.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Don't worry, guys. We are not going to write any test. We call it test cases. Okay. For every functionality to be tested, the QA team will write a piece of code that is called a test case. Okay. These test cases are saved in a repository where we are going to pick those test cases and run through our Jenkins pipeline using a Windows server. So again, don't worry, I will explain each step wise so that you guys will understand everything, at least to the bird's view, you will understand. Okay. So these
my dear,
test cases.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. My dear participants, please have a tight understand this part. The presenter is explaining you his hard work, which he has done it for approximately 1 month. So the cream of 1 month he's delivering you in 2 minutes or 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Okay. So keep this in mind. Try to pick up the important terminologies, chalk down the important points, try to understand the conceptual knowledge. The most important is conceptual knowledge, so that will help you in tackling the interviews. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Thank you.
Okay, great. So that's it, guys. So after we perform those tests, like Selenium test cases, to check whether our application is properly functioning or not, then we will simulate the application deployment. Deployment means copying the properly performing web application to the real production server. Again, what did I say? Production, real world. Okay, production means where the end users are going to interact with the application. Finally, we are seeing the entire end-to-end automated pipeline. We will link all the jobs and test it. Okay, how from each stage it is automatically progressing to the next level, and how the end deployment to the production is happening. So for that, we need to have some tools, right? So let me explain briefly those tools which we are going to use. Okay. So for our CI/CD pipeline, that is continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline to be running, we need a platform where all the tools interact with each other. everything is automated. For that we use Jenkins. It's an open source tool for our continuous integration and deployment thing. For that we use EC2, Amazon EC2 servers for our all these tools to be set up. Most of the tools have their own servers. I will explain which server has been created and which operating system, everything in detail. No problem, no need to worry. Be relaxed and learn. So once we need these tools. First one is Git, or version control mechanism is Git, but GitHub is the or is the tool which makes use of Git technology and which will save all the source code management related tasks. And then from Git we take to the Jenkins part, and then once the code is ready, what did I say? It is packaged into a thing called build. For that we need a build tool that is called Maven. There are many other tools like Ant, Gradle and other things. We are going to use Maven for our Java project since it is a Java application. And then we are going to perform certain tests like unit tests and code analysis tests. For that, there are a few plugins we will be using. Some are internal to Maven plugins like Surefire plugin and other things which are integral. So they are inbuilt into it. And there are some plugins which we are installing into the Jenkins so that we will perform the other tests. So check style is what we are using, and warnings next generation plugin is what we are going to use. And then we are going to save the tested build, which is called artifact, into some repository called artifact repository. That is, Nexus is a tool which we are going to use for saving those artifacts. Okay, here onwards I won't call the ready builds, we will call artifact. Okay, so when you hear artifact, you need to remember that. Then what we are going to do, we are going to perform few tests like static code analysis and other thing using certain thing called SonarQube. We are not going to delve much deep into SonarQube because that's different performs and how in real world they are. And the hero of this session is Ansible. What does Ansible do? What Ansible is a configuration management and infrastructure as a code tool. Okay, here don't worry about the jargon. When I say configuration management, what did the previous thing do? Okay, let me explain here. Okay, I will show the previous itself so that it will be easy for you. Okay, here I said that there are certain environments: staging environment and production environment, dev environment. If required, extra environments, we can keep them. So these environments are composed of servers, right? These servers creation should not take much time. It should be quick enough, and they should be identical. What did I say? In real world, whichever servers we are using or whichever configuration we are using, the staging or pre-prod environment should be exactly same. How are we going to match like that? We are not going to manually, maintain that. Okay, this version is there and this version of Java is here. This version of Python is there. So we are not. It is humanly not possible to manually keep track of such things. So we are going to use Ansible to not only create those servers and configure them, where we are also deploying our artifacts into those environments using Ansible code called playbooks. Okay, again another terminology which you need to learn in future called playbooks. Playbooks are nothing but piece of code which tells the Ansible that, hey Ansible, you do these tasks. You set this particular system's Java to this version, or create these directories or these folders in this particular system, like that. These playbooks are written, and Ansible makes use of these playbooks and create those infrastructure and maintains them. That is the beauty of it. That is called state management. We are not going to go into deep of Ansible, depth of Ansible and other things. The scope of this project is to tell that, okay, how we are going to use Ansible to deploy our web application into a production environment. And guys, see, I need to explain that a web application can be a microservice based one or monolithic. When I say these two terminology, I mean to say that the entire application is a single block, or it has different loosely coupled, functionalities. So don't worry again. Make note of these things. Google and learn much of. As of now, for simplicity purpose, we are implementing, a web application which is deployed into Tomcat web server. Okay, this is a single monolithic application. Again, you might ask me like how many companies these days, apply web application into a single thing and other things. But for understanding purpose and for learning purpose, this is very very important that how these things are done actually, and then you can proceed later to the advanced concepts like microservices. So don't worry about those things. We are going to build our web application and deploy that to a Tomcat server. And then Selenium, which I have already discussed, is a tool to perform automated testing. Okay, and for Selenium to happen, we need to have a Windows server, which makes use of Chrome driver and other things to run our Selenium test cases. So finally, we need to have all those servers, right? We don't use our data centers and racks physically here with us. So what do? We make use of cloud environment, obviously. Here we are using a cloud provider, AWS. You must all have known, otherwise, it is absurd to discuss. So basically, AWS is what we are using now for this demonstration. In future, we will try to explain like how Azure can be used also. But as of now, AWS is our cloud provider where we are going to set up all the servers necessary, all the settings and configuration necessary. Now, Sunil, anything till here? You wanna give a
Everything
heads up to the
perfect, sir.
participants?
Everything perfect. Thank you very much. Let's proceed.
Great. Yes. So let's proceed to each step. What we are going to do, and then we are going to start with the demonstration. So for the sake of simplicity, what we did, we have created all the servers necessary. We have made the settings necessary, and then I'm going to explain you simply like this is what we did. This is what the next step we did. When we are providing you the document, you go through the document, practice them hands-on. You practice them step by step using the detailed document so that you learn things. Now you listen to it, and the recording will be most probably provided. Right, Mr. Sunil?
Yes, you're right. The recordings are provided.
Yeah. So definitely you will be provided a recording. So watch the video now, and then later onwards you will be provided with the recording and the document. So implement those steps each one by one using your at your comfort. So let's proceed. First, what did I say? We need servers for everything, right? So what do? We need a cloud provider for our servers. Who is it? AWS. Let's log into AWS. Okay. Here we are in our AWS main console, guys. And in the AWS main console, we will be visible here. Okay, the region where we are in and everything will be visible here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to log you. Once you log into the free tier of AWS, you will be visible like this. It will be visible like this, and you need to create servers using a thing called Elastic Cloud Compute or EC2. So in that, we are going to create 5 necessary servers, and one for staging and another for creating, which are already created, but I will be explaining what is the configuration of it, and how we created in the document detail way. So let me go through what are the things we have created. Before creating these servers, we need to have few things ready with us. One thing is security groups. Security groups are nothing but rules to say that, hey, AWS, allow these particular network traffic. Like for example, let's say Jenkins server. If you remember, guys, Jenkins run on which port, guys? 8080, right? 8080 is the port where Jenkins runs. So we need to tell the AWS network that to this server 8080 port should be allowed, connection from the outside world. And similarly to our web application should be visible to the entire world. So HTTP application, right? So 443 and 80 should be allowed for external world access. Similarly, our database is called backend. Okay, backend means that in DevOps terminology, backend means the necessary infrastructure like database and message queuing and cache. Don't worry about those things. You will learn slowly in future also. Okay, for database, you should not have any access towards external world except for our Jenkins server to be connecting and our server connections. So for that, we will be creating certain security groups. Okay. For simplicity purpose, I have created one security group, and then I'm going to deploy the servers into that security group and give the necessary rules to that. Okay. But in real world, what happens is that we take strict control over like what is accessible and what is not accessible. So you create separate security group for each of the things. But for simplicity of this demonstration, we are going to create only one security group and then deploy them, and we give access only to our laptop or desktop which we are using and the remaining things. So coming back to our EC2 environment, I have said that there are few servers we have created. First, what we have created is our Jenkins server. What did I say, guys? Jenkins is our CI/CD platform too. Okay, let's go to our Jenkins server. Okay, this is our public IP. We need to copy our public IP, and we need to go and paste here. Second, this is already logged in, so I think you can see, guys. Okay, this is the public IP. Copy paste and show you the Jenkins platform and everything. So anyways, like most of you might have experienced with Jenkins. So I'm not going to again go to nitty gritties of Jenkins. So let me load that directly from my page. Just a second while it loads. So this is the server, and we're gonna load it. Just a second. So once the Jenkins server is created, we will be doing some configuration, which I have explained in the document so that you can go through them. Like for example, administrator password creation and creating the jobs and other things. So how to create jobs? I will come to it in a very few creating certain jobs for our purpose. Okay, I will explain what are the jobs created and what is the purpose of each job. But before that, let me explain to the next server. The next server I am going to create is what is the next logical step, guys? The Jenkins server, what do we do? It has a job to pick the code and run tests, right? After running the test, it need to create the build and upload it to something called Nexus Architect. So for that, we need to create a Nexus server. We created a Nexus server and it has all the artifacts necessary. Okay, and then what we are going to do, perform certain code analysis tests. I said that there will be a tool called SonarQube which performs the static code analysis. For that, we have created a server for that. As of now, we're not going to deep into SonarQube and other things for simplicity purpose. So the next step would be we are going to we are not going to explain SonarQube and other things, but we are going to explain what are the next servers we are needed. The next step would be proceeding to the staging environment. The staging, when I say, where users can see that is our web servers acts as an interface and it displays the user interface to the end users. For that, we need a database for that. So we will be creating a server for that. So for staging purpose, I have created one front end and one back end. Okay, one application hosting web server and then backend server for database and other purpose. And finally, once we have these things ready, we need to run the Selenium test cases on this using Selenium. So Selenium, what did I say? It needs a Windows server for running those automated test cases. So we will be creating a Windows server and we will be logging in using our RDP application, RDP client, and then we will be checking whether the testing happening properly or not. And finally, once the testing is complete, do another similar identical web like this called a production, and we'll be using same database just for simplicity purpose, the same backend we use, and we'll see that in the production environment also it exactly perform the same. So these are the servers we're going to create, and these are the we will execute the steps which I have mentioned similarly. So
Sir,
if you see here,
sir, quick recap. So we have lost your voice couple of times. Let me
okay,
tell me whether it is correct or not. Could you please open the server, sir, AWS?
sure, I'm gonna. So please let me. You can interrupt me
Sir,
whenever the voice is inaudible.
so tell me it is correct or not. First, we'll be using Jenkins server. In Jenkins server, we'll be downloading the source code and we'll be building the artifact. We'll be testing the artifact, isn't it,
Yes.
sir? And then the artifact will be pushed into
Yes.
the Nexus repository. Am I right,
Correct.
sir? So
Correct.
that is the reason you have created
Yes.
Nexus EC2 machine. Okay. So the artifact will be available
Yeah.
in the Nexus repository.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
After Nexus repository, next, sir, next, what is the next step?
In the Nexus repository, we have the artifact ready to be deployed
Yes.
for staging. Staging, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Staging is nothing
For
but
that
pre-pod.
pre-pod environment.
Okay.
So for
So
pre-pod, we
so you
need
mean to
one front
say,
end. And
sir, you mean to say the repository which is saved in the Nexus artifact which is saved in the Nexus repository will be deployed into the staging, that is pre-pod, where the Selenium
yes.
scripts will be executed, and then the Selenium scripts will test whether how is the application behavior performance is there in the
Yes.
staging environment.
Yes.
If everything is fine, then
Correct.
we move it into production.
Yes. Correct. For this, what we need few servers. Jenkins
So
server for
Jenkins server,
Jenkins
Nexus server, and
application,
Windows server for
Nexus
Selenium,
server,
one
Selenium, and
staging, one
SonarQube for
prod.
some coding,
Sonar Cube for
one staging and one
perfect.
prod, and single backend for both of them for simplicity.
Okay, sir. Perfect.
We can have in real world, instead of creating multiple databases and multiple backends, I've just created single backend so that it will support both things.
Okay.
I just link both the staging and this thing to a single backend. And SonarQube, as I said, it just performs certain code analysis. So shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Now let's go to each job, which how we have built this job and what is the function of each job. Now let's me go to this thing. Okay. What did I say? Developers would have created a branch and they push the changes and commit happens. Okay. Then automated build and test happens, and then after build and testing happens, it will be merged and it will be it will be deployed into staging. For that, we need a job. Jenkins has job performing each function. It needs certain steps called jobs. For example, you need to create a build of the application. For that, we created a build job. We can name it as per our comfort and configure it accordingly. How we configured it and what are the exact details are all given in the document. You just observe like what are the main points are there, what are the key aspects are there. I'm going to explain here. See, the step is source code management. What does it say? Where are you picking the code from? I'm going to tell that, guys, go Jenkins, go to this repository, which is a public repository, and copy the code from this particular branch. Okay. Once you copy the code from this particular branch, go to my the next step, and this particular step I will be explaining in the next level. Perform these steps. Okay. This is for Maven build. Okay. In order to Maven to perform certain build, it has certain life cycles and goals and other things. For further explanation, you need to you might have known or you need to. So there is what we are performing. We are performing the install phase, which will have previous stages included when you say install. And we are going to skip the test phase as of now, so that we will perform them in a separate jobs. Okay. And then once the Maven install is done, we will be ready with a package. Okay, that package should have the extension of .var, and and once it is done, it should proceed to the next project. Okay, what is that? I'm going to tell. Once this particular job is completed, okay, guys, what is the output, guys? We will have a var file ready with us. Okay, and what are we going to do with that var file? Var is nothing but an extension. Like for example, PDF is a document. Okay, .mp4 is a video file, right? Similarly, a project, Java project, can a web application built on Java programming language will have a var or jar extension. So since it is a web application, it will have a var array, var file. We need to perform the next. For the testing to happen, we need to have a. So we will create a. For simplicity purpose, we will create a different job for testing purpose. We will name it test. Okay. What will it do? It will do certain things called unit testing. Okay. Unit tests are generally performed by developers themselves, guys. But a important role of DevOps professional is that to automate whatever that can be done, so that the burden on developers should be reduced. Okay, developers should focus more on creating new and new functionality and bother less about routine tasks like unit testing and pushing like other things like pushing the code, merging the code. These things, these other unimportant tasks should be automated, and they should be given time to build the code and other things, so create the code and other things. So for that purpose, we are going to automate the unit testing also. So for that, we'll be using again, there is something called within Maven. If you have learned, there is something called Surefire plugin. We'll be making use of that Surefire plugin, and we are going to run the Maven lifecycle called test. Once we pass the command to test, what does it do? It performs unit tests on the build file or the var file which we have given. Okay, now till here, what we have done, we have checked in, or means taken the code. We have built the thing, built the package, and what did we do? We have tested, performed unit test, performing two more tests. They are called integration tests and code analysis tests. Why do we need those tests? Guys, remember, when no application will be built by a single developer, guys. Multiple developers will write the code, and they will be merged and built into a package, right? Then in that scenario, we need to understand that each piece of code developed by different developers is working together as a team, working together as a single application or not. So for that, integration tests are performed. And then there are certain other tests like regression tests and other things which we are not going to go deep into. Okay, but as of now, we are going to perform integration test using another job called integration job, where again we are going to, just a second. Sunil, am I audible, right? Whenever I'm not audible or my audio is not clear, please let me know so that I will.
Okay. So there are cases, couple of times your audio is missing for 10 seconds or 5 seconds.
Oh,
okay.
Really sorry, guys. There is a patchy network at my place, and I'm really sorry for that. But please bear with me.
Okay.
I will try to repeat as and when required. Okay, and so we are going to run a Maven goal called verify. This is a phase where it will, evaluate the integrity of the application or performs integration testing of that. And then once integration is performed with this integration job, we are going to perform a next job called code analysis. Code analysis is done to understand that, okay, guys, how many once coding is done, there will be something called code smells and syntax and bugs and other things and security flaws and other things. For all those things, we will be performing certain things called code analysis, or simply called static code analysis. We are going to use certain plugins within the Jenkins called check style and warnings next generation and other things. Once we perform this job, it will tell us like, hey, developer, your code, the build has so many number of bugs, or so many n number of warnings.
Warnings or something like that.
Yes, warnings, errors, or there are terminology for each plugin. We are going to use check style, so it will have warnings, check style warnings. So once it is done, we are going to use something called sonar cube. What does sonar cube do? Is it performs something called a gatekeeper role. For example, if you are living in an apartment, you will have watchman, right? He will not allow everyone to come in and do that. It should have a certain identity or something, or it should have something like that. Similarly, uh, this sonar cube, what does it do? It says that, hey, we need to tell the sonar cube that, okay, if there are 100 warnings or less than that, you allow the build to pass to the next levels, or you just block it there and stop it from proceeding to the next level, and we will take it back and we will correct those mistakes or bugs and code spills and other things, and then again push the code so that there will be less warnings and plugs. We are living in an agile environment. When I say agile environment, unlike the earlier software development lifecycle waterfall model, in agile model, we need to catch the bugs and fix those bugs in the early manner so that we will avoid incurring costs of the later manner. To put things in perspective, a bug which is found at the earlier stage of the development during unit test and other tests is very cheap to correct those bugs. But once it is found at production level, it is very difficult and very costly, both in terms of time and money and effort. Okay, that's why we follow something called shift left mindset. Shift left mindset. Just remember, don't worry about the terminologies. I'm introducing one by one terminology because to make you understand or accustomed to those terminologies of how DevOps professional speaks. How it as a technical lead, I myself, when I speak to the client, right, I should be aware of these technologies. I should be able to explain him in a professional manner. Similarly, I expect you guys also to be DevOps leads one day, right? So you need to understand agile, how agile methodology works, and how agile is implemented in a real world. So for that, we need to perform all the tests in the early manner of our build and everything, so that we will reduce our mistakes at a later environment. So for that, sonar cube integration tests and n number of tests are performed, security tests and other things. After these tests, we will then after we make sure that, okay guys, this build is now ready, we have done certain tests and other things. Now we can send it to the staging environment and perform next level tests. For that, we need to save that build. What is the word we used for that build which passed all these tests? Artifact. We will take that artifact, push that artifact or save that artifact into somewhere called artifactory or artifact repository. For that, we will have a job where it will link to the Nexus server. What did I say? We will be creating a Nexus server, right? From there, we will push that to the Nexus server, and latest successful build, take that latest successful build which has bar file and go to this server which is present at this location.
So this is nothing but the EC2 machine Nexus server referring to.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the Nexus server which we are speaking.
Okay.
Now,
so Jenkins, so this Nexus server credentials, we need to pass it on to Jenkins, so the Jenkins will communicate to Nexus server and push the artifact into the Nexus repository.
Yes, correct. So it will go to that. We will mention that how to name and for versioning purpose, means for creating different giving a unique name and unique identity to the artifact, we need to mention the name and which folder it is to be copied and other things. So for that, we will be doing few settings, and then we will be saving. Once this job is done, what happens? Our Nexus server will have a artifact saved within it with a unique build number and other. What is the next step, guys? What did I say? Once our build and saving the artifact is ready, we will take it to the next staging environment. Okay, for that we will be using one job called, once again, one job called Ansible deploy to staging. Okay, deploy to staging Ansible. Now I named it with a specific purpose to tell that we are making use of Ansible as our configuration management tool to not only deploy our artifact from Nexus to our staging environment, our web server, but also configuring those web server and making it ready before it is deployed. So let's go into this and see what is there inside it. There are a few parameters which we give from the past project, and then we are going to install a plugin called Ansible plugin, and then we are going to run this thing called playbook site.yaml playbook. Okay, this I'm just going to open that YAML file, or nothing but a piece of code which is written in YAML format, and it tells the Ansible that do these jobs and create these tasks. Let's go there and see what are we telling Ansible to do exactly. Let's go into workspace, go to Ansible. All these files and every data is there in our public repository. I will going to share you the public repository link there. You can clone that repository and see for yourself what is there inside all those things. You can also see it. Okay. So first one will be site.yaml. It says that import playbook. So it is simple. It is a simple playbook saying that okay, first import this playbook, run this playbook, and then import the second one and run this. So let's go to the first one and see for ourselves what is there in the first one. Okay, Tomcat setup. What is the name, guys? Tomcat setup. Means, hey, Ansible in the place where I mentioned. Okay, I will tell you how we are telling. In this first playbook, again, what did I say? A playbook is a piece of code which tells our Ansible server that do these tasks. If you know Ansible, you know, like, we'll be defining the name, and then we'll be giving some variables, and then we will performing each job, each function with the thing called task. Okay, like for example, if our web server is a CentOS based machine, then run this job. If it is a Ubuntu based machine, then run this job. Okay, run this task, like that. We'll be mentioning a clause also when clause is used within the playbook to mention that okay, first check this thing if else look like kind of thing. If this is true, run this task. If not, proceed to the next task. Similarly, like that. What does generally a web server setup will do? What would, when we manually do install a web server or set up a web server, the same steps are slightly modified and changed into a particular format where Ansible will understand. Like when we install JDK, what do we do, guys? Okay, apt install JDK or yum install JDK. Similarly, right? Similarly, if it is what are we telling Ansible? Use yum repository or yum module in Ansible. Another terminology which I am saying is module. Module is nothing but a what do you call a function? Okay, a particular Python file where a particular task, how to function it or how to perform a function particular task, we will be writing that and we will tell it a module. Like once we say this module to use, what do Ansible do? It will go to the module, see the Python file. Okay, if someone says me to use this module, I need to perform m command, right? Similarly, like that. So we will install all this, and then we'll copy the Tomcat URL, and then we'll create a temp directory. If temp directory doesn't exist or exist, skip that. So similarly, all the steps are there. It is practically it's very difficult to explain in a small session about entire thing, guys. So please, you have to cut me some slack, so we won't be we won't be doing explaining all. But once I give you the document, right, the document has all the steps necessary to be replicated with. Okay, please give me a second. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. So once this playbook is completed, where are we? At the end, we'll be ready with our Tomcat service and we'll start and enable the Tomcat service. So till now, what we have done, guys, what did we do? Let me recap once. Okay, let me tell you by this thing. We have checked out, we created certain jobs, we have built the job, we will build the repository, tested it, and proceeded to the Nexus artifact. And then we have created a Tomcat server using Nexus, and we are ready with our Tomcat server. We have not deployed the artifact yet. Okay, we are keeping it ready in the Nexus repository. We created the Ansible, and now what is the next job? Linking it to that is called deployment. When something called when somebody says deployment, that means copying the artifact or copying the the build to the environment where we are testing it or where we are showing it to the outside. So first stage of deployment is into which environment? Staging or pre-production. Okay.
Second stage of deployment will be production, sir.
Production, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now for deployment to happen, we are ready with our deployment pipeline look like. But server, but also deploys it. Now this is the playbook which tells that what is the same template, guys. It defines few variables, and then the first one is download the latest build from Nexus. Where is the build? The build path will be defined like this. What is each one? I will be explaining in the document and will be providing. And copy from this URL. This is a URL, guys, HTTP URL. Okay, we are going to pass all these variables in the Jenkins job. We will entering the parameters and implemented. So when user your name will be there. The past repository name, which repository, which time, build name, build number, and everything will be automatically populated. And then we will be downloading the next artifact to our local. Going to do, we are going to go to the root directory, Devops root directory, and then deploy means copy. We are going to copy and extract the var file into particular. Then you might ask, like, if the root directory is already there, what do we do? We just rename it, and then we'll create a new root directory, and we'll copy the contents into the thing. Here we can delete the old root directory, but generally I don't suggest in real world we don't delete things very easily. That's the rare thing we do. We have a life cycle, where I will discuss later. Okay. Generally, we don't delete things very easily. We will have a life cycle. Like for example, after certain days or after certain months, you can take it to the next level, and we can archive it. And then after years or after 1 year or so, we'll delete them like that. So similarly, as per the real world, we will be copying to the new folder, and the old one will be kept aside, and copy the artifact and start the Tomcat service again. Once the Tomcat is started again, now what do we have? We have a new code or new web application which is ready. The old web application with the old changes will be removed, and the new application with the new changes done by developers will be ready to be tested. Okay. Once we go to that stage, we will be opening. This is the staging, right? Okay. One second. I will explain from here. Okay. Once our job completes, deploy to staging is completed, we will open our staging server and check for ourselves whether that application is working properly or not. Then after staging happens, what did I say, guys? Staging is exactly similar to the production environment, and we will perform stress test and automation test case and everything on the staging environment, right? So we will perform certain tests. How do we do that? We use certain job called software testing. What does the software testing do? Software testing, we make use of something called Selenium. Selenium is a testing application or testing tool, which QA or testing team will make use of to write some code to test each and every functionality. Again, a terminology is test case. Test case is a block of code, a piece of code which tests a particular function. Like for example, the website is opening properly or not. Web application is performing as per its requirements or not. Whether logging is happening or not. Whether a particular check guys whether the cart is functioning or not, whether all the materials which we need to purchase are performing visible or not, whether billing is happening or not, whether games like spinning the wheel and other things are performing or not, whether other things like recharge payment and other things are performing. Similarly, in our web application, a simple test case block we will be testing here is just two things, two functionalities. What is that? First, open that whether the web application is opening or able, it is ready to be accessible for users or not. And the second one is once it is ready for users to be logged in, whether logging in and out is happening or not. These two simple things we will test using our test cases. Again, in real world, test cases DevOps engineer will not write. Okay, QA team, there is a separate team. They will write and give us the test cases, and we simply import those test cases. How do we import? We write a job and we tell that, hey Jenkins, go to this particular branch and copy the test scripts, Selenium automation test scripts, and run them using a thing called Surefire suite, where our testng.xml is present. And now, what do we tell that thing? Go to my staging server and do a login using. Here I am, for simplicity purpose, I am writing the password and username in a plain text. But in real world, we will be using many things like keywords and Jenkins variables and Jenkins environment variables to encrypt and these passwords and sensitive information. But here, for demonstration purpose, we can mention that, and then take a photo snapshot and tell keep those snapshots in this particular folder for proof. Okay, whether it is working or not, so that we will have a visible proof also. Not only that job should pass, but also it will give us some screenshots for our verification purpose. So okay, till now what did we do? Let's recap again one more time. Okay, we have checked in, build, test, we have deployed. What did I say? We saved the artifact to Nexus called, that step where we are saving the build to the Nexus repository is called release. Release happened, and then once the release is ready or the artifact is ready, we will deploy that into our staging environment. Once staging environment setup is completed using Ansible and other thing, we will deploy. And what is that? What is it? Our final environment.
Production.
What is production? We are going to deploy the artifact into the same artifact. We are not going to change anything. Oh yeah, we change or we don't proceed forward if the build fails. The application is not performing as per expectations. If terminology again, what is that? Continuous delivery versus continuous deployment. What is that? Continuous delivery is that here you see two paths here, right? First row and second row. Both are exactly identical except one part. After our acceptance test, like Selenium test cases and user acceptance tests and other tests are completed on our staging environment, whether we deploy our ready artifact to the final environment called production, whether we deploy it manually or we are doing it automatically. Let me show you whether we are going to deploy it manually after we show it to the client and certain approvals and checks and balances are there. There will be n number of again sanity testing, user acceptance testing. In real world, there are security and n number of tests are there. After those tests, we are going to give manually approval that yes, we can proceed forward to deploy this artifact to the production environment, or we are automatically doing that. Automatically how? We don't we automate the entire approval process. Like we say that okay, this test is passed, then deploy. This n number of tests are passed, then deploy. If we do that automatically and deployment from after staging to production happens automatically, we call it continuous deployment. If it happens manually, that means if after the test, final production environment receives the artifact after manual approval, it is called continuous deployment. So today we learned many terminologies. These two are also very important. When in interviews, if somebody asks what's the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment, you should be able to explain this difference. Okay. Now for that
Thank
to
you,
happen,
sir.
what are
Thank
we
you
going
for
to do?
this. So as we have now the complete bird's eye view of the complete cycle, sir. So I think many participants are eager to have some discussion with you. Okay. So can we spend some time, sir, to have an interaction?
Yes. Yeah. I lost your voice. Could you please repeat? Hello.
Can you hear me, sir? Now.
Hello.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me
Now I
now?
can hear you. Yeah. After this, you were saying
So
something.
as we
Yes, I
have
can hear
now,
you.
the complete bird's eye view of the complete cycle, sir. I think it's probably many participants have some questions to be asked. They're eager to talk to you. So can we have a discussion on this conceptual
Uh-huh.
knowledge?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Uh,
So before
are we
getting
going
into
to do that?
practicals, before
Yeah.
going into practicals, I think it's always good to have some interaction with some of the participants. As you can see, sir, there are
Mhm.
many participants in the attendees tab raising their hands, isn't it? Okay, we cannot talk with
Yes,
obviously with
definitely.
all the participants. You are now
Definitely.
allowed to randomly pick up some of the participants, and you have the
Oh.
controls. You need to hover the mouse on the participant name, and you have an option to unmute. You have to do that so that the participants can unmute and then they can have a talk. One point before starting, my dear friends, as we know, we cannot have
Okay.
an interaction
From
with all the participants. So let's pick up some of the participants and let's have
uh,
interaction.
can you do
So you are now allowed to pick up anybody. Okay.
me a favor? You can quickly like should I allow the participant directly to speak to? Like, how do we do that? Whoever raises their hands, right? Like we should go there and we should. You know, there are people who have raised their hands. So should I pick them and allow them to talk so that they can ask their questions? Hello, hello, guys. Let's start with the first person. Let's see.
So
You can ask
look
your
like
question.
some network issue.
Hello, hello, Mr. Naveen. You can ask your doubt. May I know, like you might have a query, so you can ask, or I can unmute another person also, so that if Naveen is not available, another person can ask. Hello. hear me now?
Can you hear me, sir? Sorry,
I
sir,
don't
we
know,
cannot
like
hear you.
whoever it is, like can they be able to, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you, sir. Yeah.
నేను ప్రెసెంటర్ ఉన్నాను ఆల్రెడీ.
My dear participants, I hope you can hear me. This is Sunil. Looks like some network issues at presenter's location, so please bear with us. Okay, we'll have an interaction. Sharma sir, can you hear me? Could you please confirm?
Yes, Sunil, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir. We are perfectly back now. Okay, so
I don't know how many at what juncture people have lost, because
okay,
based on the QA thing, there are many people who are saying that voice is skipping and voice is breaking in the middle. And so what I would do quickly in 5 minutes, I would also explain whatever I have told in the past 1 hour. Okay.
Yes.
Within 5 minutes, we'll finish it. And then
I think you already done it, sir. You already have done it, sir. You have repeated already how exactly
that part,
this.
Okay. Okay. Great. That
so we
part
cannot see you. First, could you please share your screen, sir?
Okay, 1 second. Oh yeah, I didn't skip. Sunil, enable me the screen sharing.
Okay.
I have.
Yeah, you are right.
Could you please? Yeah, could you please?
I have made you the host now.
Okay, great.
Yes, we can see your screen now, sir. Okay.
Great. So
sir,
should we attend?
Yes, let's have an interaction, sir. We had enough understanding now. So I think many participants wants to speak. So you have to pick up randomly some of the participants, Sharma, sir.
Navin might be.
Naveen, yes, Naveen, can you hear us? You are now allowed to unmute and talk to the presenter.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
Naveen, we can hear you.
Hi, sir. Myself, Maven. How this code analysis has been done in Jenkins, like using a Sonar
Okay.
Cube?
Yes, we are using a Sonar Cube as of now. So just to simplify the thing, we have not explained Sonar Cube, but we are using Sonar Cube server separately. Here is the Sonar Cube server. What we will do, we will do something called static code analysis. In the earlier stages, we'll be using plugins called check style and warnings next generation plugin. And from the output of that is checkstyle.xml file. And that file we are going to input it into our Sonar Cube server. Okay. That the Sonar Cube server will have something called code quality. We will have this is our Sonar Cube server, and I'm going to explain log into the server. I'm going to explain like in the document like what you need to do, how to create the Sonar Cube server and other things. But as of now, this will be the similar thing. Once you pass through that, it will show how many bugs are there in our this thing and how many code smells are there, how many vulnerabilities are there. Can you see my screen, Naveen? If you can see my screen, there are things, and
Yes,
also
sir,
there is something called quality gates. There is something called quality. So 1 second. Okay, there is something called quality gates. In the quality gate, we define like a parameter. Like for example, if there are 1,000 bugs or if there are 100 bugs, pass that or don't pass that. Generally, this value defines whether to pass the build to go to the next level or not. Like that. Sonar Cube is again it's the ocean in itself. That's why I'm not getting in deep into it, because within our 3-hour or 2-hour presentation, I cannot explain humanly. It is impossible to explain each tool in depth. But what I'm going to do is giving you a perspective. Like this tool is this for this purpose. It is for you guys to explore and dig deep and learn new things and explore and experiment with them. But as of now, in the document, I will be definitely providing how to set up Sonar Cube server and how to configure it. Okay, Naveen, that would does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. We will go to the next participant. Naveen, mute yourself. Next, Bharat is there. Okay, let's talk. Bharat, you can ask your question.
Hello.
Unmute your. Yeah,
Hello.
hi Bharat. Quickly ask your question, please. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, thank you for the session. My doubt is, what is the role of Docker or Kubernetes in these environments, CD, continuous delivery and deployment?
Okay, Bharat, at the end of the presentation, can I explain that answer? Because I have that in my what you said in the demonstration. At the end, we will explain what are Docker and Kubernetes going to do. I will answer to the whole public in the end of the presentation.
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for this.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Sunil, also for this.
Yeah, please mute yourself and next participant, Jayanti. Jayanti, you can unmute and ask your question, please.
Hi Vijay sir and hi Sunil sir. My doubt is like, see this I understand, but my doubt is like where exactly we can use the Terraform scripts here into the CI/CD.
Very good. Now, I mentioned something called Ansible, right?
Yes.
Ansible is the infrastructure as code configuration management tool. And I explained something called a playbook, right? I opened a file called a playbook which performs certain tasks, right? Yeah. Within the task, there is something called copy certain things and deploy that file. But before that, I need to create a server, right? Okay. Like this is the EC2 server, right? 1 second. These are the servers we have created. But here, for the demonstration purpose, we have created manually each one of these servers. But what does Terraform do? Terraform's main role is infrastructure as code automation. That means we write a script called Terraform script .tf file. And what do? We tell that with this provider called AWS, in this AWS, with these login credentials, create all these servers and create this infrastructure. We will mention that in a Terraform file and we call it as a state. Terraform is infrastructure as code. That means we write a piece of code to create exactly how the environment is there. For example, simply to put, Jayanti, now I have 7 servers, right? Tomorrow my free tier is going to end, right?
Okay.
Now, if I create a Terraform file for creating all these servers, with just one click, I can be able to create all these servers in the next account also. If we deploy all these things with the Terraform, the same thing can be implemented in 100 users AWS accounts or 100 servers we can create, or anything we can do. Terraform is is a boon from HashiCorp. HashiCorp is a we write those Terraform scripts in some language called HCL and other things, but we don't go deep into that. But the advantage is to create the infrastructure using a piece of code, right? Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, one more doubt I have. Instead of Ansible, can we use the Terraform scripts?
Very good question. Ansible, the primary role is configuration management. What is configuration management? To keep the configuration uniform across the environments. So Terraform can do a job, both can do both the jobs, but what do you say? You have a bike, you have a car, right? Can you pack in 4 people into a bike and ride the bike? No, right?
No.
Similarly, you cannot take the car and you cannot push it into a smaller, narrower gullies. Right? So both are built for a particular job. Terraform can do infrastructure automation and creation fantastically. Ansible can do configuration management fantastically. So we pick the best person or best tool for the best job. But remember, both can do the jobs, but certain loopholes are there, certain functionalities are different to each other.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, Jayanti. Yeah, please mute yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have anyone in mind, Sunil? You want to suggest any name? I can take one more.
No one. There's no preference. Anybody you can do it.
Okay. Any international participant you want me to go to?
Yes, this
because
time let's.
There are many people. There are many people.
Yes.
Yeah. So Abdul Kalim Sheikh. Okay. Did I say someone to unmute? I might have to, right? Abdul Karim Muhammad, can you please unmute your mic and can you please ask whatever your query is? Hello,
Abdul,
are you there?
can you hear us? You are now allowed to unmute yourself and you can talk.
And you can ask
Let's proceed with other participants.
Mr. Stray Shah, can you please ask your doubt?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Sunil sir and Vijay sir. Yeah, thank you. It was a fantastic session.
Thank you so much.
So my question is revolving around Terraform itself. We know, we use Jenkins for this pipeline, and if we see the AWS and Azure alternatives, it would be like Azure pipelines and AWS pipelines. So is there any alternative for Terraform for a cloud native, from a cloud native perspective? Like what's AWS version of Terraform or Azure's version of Terraform?
Yes. There is something called cloud. If I'm not wrong, it is called cloud script or something. 1 second, let me type that and check. I don't want to give them cloud formation, if I'm not wrong. Cloud formation is one such tool by AWS. If it gives all the tools necessary for doing this. This is the cloud formation which does the exact job of the Terraform. Okay.
Yes.
This is the AWS tool. Similarly, you have in Google and in AWS, Azure, you have certain things you can make use of that. In Azure, it is called something like, if I'm not wrong, what is the name? Something I will recollect and I will let you know. Okay, I am unable to recollect exactly. But yes, there are.
A quick question for Sunil sir. Will there be a Terraform classes in future?
Yes, we are including Terraform now in this existing current batch.
Okay.
In the Devops course.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Shay, is that if it answers your question, can we proceed to the next?
Yes, thank you,
participant?
sir. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Jenkins done. Mallikarjuna Reddy. Mr. Mallikarjun, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Mallikarjun. If Mallikarjun is not available, we can go to the next participant. Sachin Kohapuri. Mr. Sachin, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm just
good morning, Sachin.
new to this session. This is my first session, so I'm just trying to understand some pieces.
Okay.
This question is for Sunil sir. Is it this course is good for fresher as well, like the person who basically don't have background about DevOps and all?
Yes, I mean DevOps and AWS skill sets is one of the most one of the booming IT skills now. There are a lot of recruitments happening in the DevOps and AWS skilled resources. So even though you're a fresher, rather than learning traditional technologies like Java or .NET, I recommend you to go with the latest technologies like cloud, like AWS and DevOps, which will help you to get your first job. Sachin, okay?
Okay. Sunil sir, one more question. One of my friend is also interested to join this class. So he's a quite infrastructure guy who is working on Cisco UCS platform and
Okay.
VMware stuff.
On-premises stuff. Okay.
Yeah, on-prem system. He's working in a leading banking domain. So he wanted to jump into this cloud thing. So is it?
Yeah, it's definitely it is a related technology. As you know, most of the clients are moving from on-premises to cloud providers like Azure and AWS. He should upgrade the skills and then go to the next level of the technology.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
Sachin. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, if Sachin's doubt is scattered, can you go to the next?
Yes, please mute Sachin. Please mute back.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tarun Reddy, we can. Tarun, can you ask your doubt?
Yeah, thanks, sir. Thanks for giving me a chance. So,
Okay.
at the end, you were discussing about the continuous delivery and continuous deployment, right?
Yeah, I'm going to briefly discuss how it is implemented. But if time permits, we will show in detail. But if time doesn't permit, I will explain the document how to implement it.
Okay, yeah, but at one of the stage, like when we are deploying it to the pre-pod server, so that is also a continuous deployment, right? So once all the test cases are passed, at the end also we are doing the continuous deployment to the production server.
Okay, to just correct your question, in real world, although we call deployment into staging and deployment into copying the bar file or copying the artifact into staging and other environments of deployment, when we say the word continuous deployment, it sometimes more specifically mean deploying the artifact into production server. Okay, that's how it is used. But all these things are deployments. So copying the thing into dev and copying the thing into staging is also called deployments only. When you talk in the real world, you say to your client or something that deployment happened into this environment, deployment happened into staging environment. Everything is deployment. But when you say to differentiate between continuous delivery and continuous deployment, I just mentioned that okay, there is manual approvals are there, just to mention theoretical understanding purpose, nothing more than that.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, nothing, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
Great. Bharat is done. Rajesh, could you please unmute your mic and can you ask your question?
Thank you, Sunil, and thank you, Vijay sir. Like, it was a very nice session. Though, like the is in between network, yeah, I can understand the whole concept of what I tried to explain. There's a quick question.
Great.
Few more questions. Like Jenkins server, you have used a T2 small. So Jenkins is a beast actually. Should you not increase to T2 medium or T2 large? That is one thing. Second is that you are having so many machines, VMs actually. Can you integrate few of the machines together? And the same stuff is in with the pipe with the jobs also. Can you integrate some of the jobs into one and do it? Because a lot of separate jobs are here actually, and a lot of separate VMs are there. So that is and integrating between one server to other server, how we are doing, because there has to be that would be explaining everything in the document so that when we are doing.
Okay, there are 3 to 4 questions included, so I will answer one by one. The first job is where there are so many VMs, and can we integrate the all the VMs together, or can we club them together? Okay. The first question is few of them, and Jenkins server, should we go to the medium or T2 large? Okay, yes. In production and real world scenarios, we will be going at least T2 large for Jenkins server. But again, remember, Jenkins is a resource intensive, storage intensive task, not compute intensive task. Do you understand the difference, right? So storage, the computational process, when there are parallel builds running, if you must make sure that if there are n parallel concurrent builds have to be run, you need to make sure that n number of cores should be present. Core means CPU cores, like quad core or octa core, like that. So let's go. We have only one concurrent build run. At a time, only one job is running. So one core is sufficient for us for this demonstration. If in real world, if there are like 4 or 5 jobs or 10 jobs are running in parallel, then we definitely need larger VM version which has n number of cores. So we select the virtual the instance type based on the requirement. Demonstration, I have taken only one core because T2 small is sufficient with 1 core and 2 GB RAM. If we need more cores like T2 medium where 2 cores and 4 GB RAM is necessary, I will go with that. For example, if you see the Windows part, Windows Server, what did I select? T2 medium. Why? Because Windows Server can't run on single core. It needs at least dual core and 4 GB RAM. So that's why I have gone for medium. Similarly, Nexus Server and SonarQube. In Nexus, you must go with T2 medium. Otherwise, it won't even boot up, or it won't give. It won't be like that.
The service won't get
exactly.
Yeah.
And now coming to the second question, we already did that. Do you see anywhere Ansible server listed here?
No. Yeah, I can make out. Yeah.
Why? Because Ansible is just a Python code. Okay, Ansible is a simple software, so that simple application. So I integrated Python into Jenkins server itself.
Yeah, that's
within the Jenkins server. I have included Ansible to save some cost. And finally, you have 2 more questions, like how each server is communicating with other server. At the starting of the session, I said something called security groups. I created a security groups called Logic Lab demo. In an ideal scenario, what happens is that for each server, there will be one security group, which tells that, like for example, app staging. Let's open this. What I have done is that allow all traffic from my Jenkins server group and allow SSH from my personal machine and custom 8080 from my custom. Like that, similarly, it should allow from database also. Like that, there are certain rules, right? And one thing to make sure for demonstration or for your hands-on is create everything within one virtual network, that is VNet or VPC, and then within that VPC, create a security group. Single security group is more than sufficient most of the times, or create a 2 or 3, one for for backend, one for web server, one common security group, where you simply do one thing, simply allow all traffic within that security. What did I written here? Okay.
Yeah, got it. I got it.
Within that security group, if you include all the machines, they will interact with each other, and one rule for accessing from my machine, or one from any other client machine or any other machine, like that. So you can do this, permutations and combinations, and you can configure. But one thing, guys, this is not only for the participant who is asking this question. Don't ever keep all traffic to like open to the world. Okay, that means, for example, if I edit inbound rules, there is an option called open all traffic to all, anywhere. This is a must. You must not do that. If you do that, that means that you are opening your machine to be used by all the nefarious bad guys out there. They take over. There are.
So this means you are welcoming the hackers.
Yeah, Sunil, there are incidents where cyber attacks have happened on
cloud environments also. Yes.
Cloud environment.
Yes.
They will specifically target the free tier accounts where people will open and create machines and use default subnet and default security group where everything is open. Okay, they will connect and they will use it for blockchain mining and Bitcoin mining, and then you will get a bill for thousands and lakhs, and people will cry and incident have happened. Okay.
Yes.
So please, guys, don't ever open it. Only do that from your app, IP and your security group. How do you do that? For example, for my IP, I will click like this. This is the machine. Only my machine can access all these machines from any port you can use. Or only machines within this group can access within this group. For that, I need to select the security group, this one. So that means that within this security group, whatever machines are linked, all can interact with each other without any obstruction. That for demonstration purpose, you can do. But in production environment and in real world, you won't do that. You will be very, 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 very careful in allowing each one rule to allow or not. You will be audited and you will have n number of you need to answer to many people, and especially your client and your company's reputation relies on that. So this is what I can do as of now. So who is the participant? Tarun, right? Yeah. Did that answer you your questions, Tarun?
Yeah,
Rajesh,
definitely. Most of them are.
Rajesh, sorry, Rajesh. Yeah. Is there anything you want to ask? So that
there are many things here, but I would go ahead. I would stop my.
Sure. Please mute so that we can.
Sunil, probably one more participant so that we can get into practicals now.
Yeah, sure.
We'll have call with one more.
Yeah. Vinith Tripathi. Okay. Hi, Vinith. If you are available, unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, Sunil. Hi, Vijay sir. So
thank you.
My question is basically we have like used in your demonstration SonarQube and CheckStyle, right? So both are doing the same thing, like both are code analysis tools. So why basically we are using both of them? Why we are not using only one, SonarQube, if both are doing the same?
Yeah.
Like and...
Yes, I understand. See, again, I explained. SonarQube has a different, functions to perform of its own. Like, for example, implementing quality gates is one simple functionality. Quality gates, I explained, right? If there are n number of bugs, pass the thing. That is a simple functionality. It can do much more than that, but that is not the scope of this presentation. So, but to just explain that, okay, SonarQube in and itself won't perform all those tests. It will have different tests to perform, but we are doing some certain static code analysis using TextStyle, and we are taking that report and analyzing that report using Sonar. For example, if I give you Chinese newspaper, can you read it? No. But if you use a Google Translator from your phone and analyze that, you can read it in English, right, Vinith?
Right.
Exactly. SonarQube is doing the same job. It simplifies a developer or a DevOps engineer role to identify where the bugs are there, what is happening with my build, how secure is my build, how safe, how structured is my code is, how how are we sticking to the pure code principles and clean code mechanism. There are n number of processes. If you're a developer, right, how to write clean code and other things. So just to make sure all these things is just one part of SonarQube. There are many things. If I start explaining SonarQube, the whole day will occupy with it. So I am not going to do that. So is that what your question? Did I answer your question?
Yeah. One more question actually. You have used the Nexus server for for artifacts. So if we can use for our GitHub for like storing your for artifacts. We can download from GitHub and integrate with the Jenkins. So why basically we are using the Nexus if we have already GitHub?
Yeah, this is a good question, and I'm going to give you homework to all of you guys. Go save an MP3 file in GitHub. Try to do that, or save the artifact of 1 GB in the GitHub. You can do that because GitHub is designed in such a way like it saves a file where it can track the changes. For example, a piece of code is written in a text document or a Python script is written, and you change that Python script. Now, what do GitHub do? It is built on a platform, a kind of database where it can track the changes of each character, right? But it cannot track the changes of a binary file. Binary file, when I say a file which is not a document type, Okay, it can be a zip file, it can be an artifact, it can be an MP3 file, anything, any binary file is hard for GitHub to process and keep the versioning. That's why we keep a separate versioning tool for our artifacts, and Nexus is one out of it. When I discuss about containers and images, I at the end I will give a brief touch up, because we will have one more session like this one to explain how deployment in real world happens today into containers and other things. Because for that you need to have a what do you call, like if I give that with microservices based one, that would be very helpful for that. We have that project in pipeline, isn't it, Sunil? We
Yes,
were planning
yes, you're right.
we will be having it in sometime soon. At that time I will explain you taking any artifact cloud-based repository, for example Azure Container Registry, for example, or Docker Hub, for example. I will take those repositories, cloud-based repositories, instead of Nexus. I will explain like that. So we can make use of anything and we can save that, except GitHub and Bitbucket, where binary files cannot be tracked and versioned. That's the purpose.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, yeah. So Sunil, should we?
Yes, let's get into practicals. Let's get into
practicals. Please mute yourself a minute so that we'll go ahead. Yeah. Sorry to all other guys whose queries cannot be answered at this moment, but at the end we will have another QA session based on the time and other things. And if then also not answered, please mail to Sunil. He will forward your queries to me and I will answer them based on the your queries. So now let's proceed. Where are we, guys? Till what place we are? We have described how is continuous delivery and continuous deployment, and how we configured jobs within the jobs. Since till software testing we came, we explained that how we configure it, and then at the end we will be giving the Selenium for Selenium test cases to happen. What kind of branch checking out mechanism, and what is the thing we give, and finally what is the next step if we perform user acceptance testings, like for example Selenium test and sanity test. Sanity test is nothing but basically function, whether it is functioning or not, application is functioning, like that. So after all those tests are completed and staging environment is able to withstand the load and everything, then we will finally deploy that to the production. For that we will create a job called deploy to prod. Again, what it is exactly same as deploy to staging. The only difference is that the server to which we are deploying will differ. How do we tell the job to pick the server? We will configure the IP address of the server here. If you see this, it is an inventory file. If any of you have worked with Ansible, you know that Ansible is a configuration management tool. That means there will be an Ansible controller and there will be Ansible machines which will be controlled by this controller. And for that Ansible to connect to those hosts or the machines where configuration is need to be done, we need to create a file called inventory file, and within that host. So here whereas in the deploy to staging Ansible job, the host name will be the private IP of our staging server. Let me verify that. Okay, guys, is it audible? Please respond, because I can see again my network getting disrupted. Am I audible? Hello, guys, am I audible? Sunil, Mr. Sunil, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
great.
sir.
So, okay, great. So what I'm going to do is like just verify. Sorry, this is executed, right? Okay, one second. Yeah. I'm going to show you that how we are configuring Ansible to with our web servers. Okay, let's say in order for Ansible to configure our Tomcat and deploy the artifact to staging environment, we need to do some configuration. I'm going to explain you how we are doing that. First thing, we need to copy our private IP address of the staging environment server. Why? Because they are both in a single a subnet, a single VPC where they can interact with each other. We have configured security group in that way. Nothing but we have created a security group and deployed all the servers into the security group. We are allowed all the traffic within that security group. Nothing more than simple task. And now the same IP address we are here. Remember 9.137, 9.1. Same mentioning. This is the deploy to staging job where we are writing an inventory file, okay, with this host. That means that it is telling that this job is telling that, hey Ansible, go to this host at this IP and perform the playbook actions. Where is the playbook? It is in this branch, okay. And what is the name of the playbook? It is this site.ml. And I have explained you all both the playbooks within the workspace which I have. Like first one is to configure the Tomcat, and second one is to deploying the bar file into the root folder of our web application. So this is how we are telling the Ansible to configure, and this is how, in fact, telling the Jenkins to connect with Ansible or telling the Ansible to do all this configuration. So one by one, now you must be understanding simple little bit like one aspect you might be understanding. Okay, there is one job in Jenkins. What does this job do? It will have some configuration which will tell that, okay, take the code, like from which branch. That after that job is done, we will have another job in Jenkins job where we are telling that using Maven perform certain builds. Okay, after that another job to test certain aspects like unit tests, integration tests, and code analysis. And then we have a SonarQube server. Jenkins will connect with SonarQube server, and SonarQube server will have input from the last stage, that is code analysis stage. Take the input and do certain testings and tell that whether to pass that job or not to pass that job, like that. And then deploy to staging, and deploy after staging deployment is completed, or using our Nexus artifact uploader or Nexus artifact, we deploy it to staging. Once staging server is up and running using our Ansible, I have just shown you how we configured that thing. And in the document, you will have detailed explanation of how to configure each server also. Like for example, which instance to pick, which user data from where you need to pick. I will explain. For example, the repository which I am going to give you, it have public repository. Anybody can clone into it and take that user data, and you copy paste and create a EC2 instance. And remember guys, the most important task of a DevOps engineer is to do R&D work. I mean, the research and development. That means you need to search, you need to try, sometimes you need to struggle also to perform certain tasks. You might not know how to debug, how to clarify. Just use Google, use Stack Overflow, use certain GitHub forums and other things. And sometimes Quora might help you, sometimes Stack Overflow is your best friend. Go to there and explore why this is not happening to me. Why, for example, even though I give you a document with every step, it might not perform exactly. Maybe it might throw an error for you. You cannot directly call me, hey Vijay, I got this error. No, even if there are 600 or 800 participants, I cannot answer possibly to all questions, right? But I can answer some of your questions through mail, but it is impossible. If one person has 10 problems, then what you need to do, take that thing, then Google that error code or error and try to figure out. So let's proceed with the final execution of the job. That means once we click on that, the entire thing is automated and finally it is deployed. For that, we need to go here and we will start with the job. For that to happen, that means for each job to perform without clicking manually, like we cannot click first build job and then go perform test job, and then we cannot, it is very inefficient way to manually trigger every job. And even in the real world, we won't trigger even the first job. We will configure in such a way that whenever developer commits the code, it will automatically trigger our first job, and simultaneously we will have an entire pipeline running as a smooth flow. How does it flow continuously? Like I will explain with one example. This is the first job. That is the build job where source code is picked up and next job is testing to perform. So once source code is done and build is ready, we will tell that at the end, build other project. What does it do? It go to this job called test and run this job. That's it, as simple as that. Okay. When to perform this job or when to trigger? Only if the build is stable, or trigger even if the build is unstable, or trigger even if the build fails. But why would we proceed to the next job if the build fails? No, we don't want to, right? So we will select the option trigger only if the build is stable. That means it will go to the next job automatically once the job is stable or the build is stable. So similarly, in the next in the job like test, we will have link to the integration. In the integration, we will have link to the code analysis. In the code analysis, link to the sonar cube code analysis. From that, we will have to the nexus. Let's say, what is the next job of after code analysis? We need to send it to the nexus repository. Let's go and check. Okay, 1 second. Post build action, deploy to nexus, right? Whether it is deploy to nexus is the next job. So trigger only if the build is unstable. Okay. If you might ask, Mr. Sharma, can we check without going into the configuration? Yeah, we can check. For example, go to the nexus, deploy to nexus. There itself, you can see what is the upstream project. Upstream project is the job before that, which triggers the present job. Okay. What is the downstream project? That means what is the next job which is going to be performed, like that. We will link so that every job is triggered based on the one before that, and once it is completed, the next job will be, see, after Nexus Artifactory, uploading to Nexus Artifactory, we will be deploying into staging environment, right? Similar to that. Finally, the last job is deploy to prod. What would be the previous job, guys? Selenium test case. Let's verify whether it is present or not. So the upstream project would be software testing Selenium, but there is no downstream project because this is the end of the pipeline, right? Like that. So this is how we build our pipelines, and I will be explaining you like I have documented, and I will be telling you how to select that option, as simple as that. Now there are few things like Nexus Artifactory and other things. Let's simply log into the Nexus Artifactory to check whether our artifacts are ready or not. But before that, let me run the jobs and verify that the artifact is present, or the all the jobs are performing properly or not. Okay. Before that, a few things we will clarify. First thing, Jenkins. There are few jobs can only run on Jenkins. There are few jobs which can run only on like other operating systems like Windows. Sorry, if the Jenkins is based out of Linux, there are certain jobs which cannot run on Linux. Like if you want to run a PowerShell script, why do we want to run a PowerShell script? Let's say you want to configure Windows Server. How do we configure a Windows Server using a Linux shell script? You can't. You need a PowerShell script for that. But in order to run a PowerShell script, we might need to run that on the different node. What is a node? Node is like an agent or a particular slave which we attach to the master thing, and then we tell the Jenkins to run a particular job from a particular slave agent. How do we do that? We go to manage Jenkins and we go to manage nodes and clouds, and this thing. We need to make sure that both are up and running. I will in the document how to add a node, how to configure a node, and that everything is written. Okay. Or you can Google it. It is not a tough job. It is simple. You need to download a simple jar file and run a simple command so that it will link to the master and then it will run. Sunil, like I'm not going to deep of these simple aspects.
Yes.
Basic aspects.
Our participants know how to establish master slave configurations.
Yeah, exactly. Jenkins is the basic of a DevOps professional must have knowledge on basic things. So I'm not going to depth of all these things. So let me start the job and check one by one, like whether our Nexus Artifactory is has got the build from the previous stages, or whether our artifact has been uploaded to the staging server or not. And once it is up and running, we will open the staging server and check whether it is performing normally or not, and we will do that. For that, I have created a pipeline. So if you see like this, you don't see any thing like let me build now. And
sorry to interrupt you, sir. My department. Could you go back to the dashboard, sir, once?
Yeah.
So my dear participants, you can experience, you can see in the last success column and last failure column, there are 50 times the failures has happened for one job, 11 failures, 47 failures in Scholar. So this will help you to understand how hard work Mr. Sharma sir has done to give you this example. Okay, so he has done a lot of, he spent many number of hours, many iterations to make this possible. Okay, so please try to understand the hard work of our team to show you this presentation. Yes, you can proceed.
Thank you so much. That's flattering, but but be prepared, guys. If you are becoming a DevOps professional, that means that it is not as a cakewalk. At every stage, you might encounter different. For example, your simple Python version might be different, and sometimes in Selenium test cases, sometimes your Chrome driver would be of different version than your actual Google Chrome version. So you need to just adjust that. Like for example, downgrade the Chrome to earlier version. You need to Google and figure out these things. Simple errors you might face. However, best the document I provide, you need to do R&D and troubleshoot it. Okay, only then you can execute this flawlessly, and be prepared to face failures and overcome them. Once you face a failure, learn from that and don't repeat that thing, and then keep a notebook or some OneNote document where you list out. That helped me a lot when I'm in initial stages of DevOps career, because once you fix certain number of errors, right, after the 11th one might be the first one itself, similar to the first one. You might have forgot how you figured out and how you solved the one. So you make a habit of listing down, or making a note, or however you want. But make sure that you don't repeat those mistakes, or learn from them and try to avoid repeating those. So thanks, Sunil, for again mentioning thing. But a DevOps engineer should be prepared, must be prepared for every eventuality, because you are at the you are the pillar of entire infrastructure of your project. You need to maintain, and you need to troubleshoot. You need to run the jobs properly. Blame game will always happen between developers and you, but ultimately, if you are proper and with all the logs and everything, you will be. So no need to worry. It is a like best job if you love solving and exploring things and other things. And okay, let's start with the first job and see whether it is proceeding properly to the next job. I'm starting with the thing manually. Again, I have told you that you can trigger it from the branch. You can do that, but I have already demonstrated that in the past thing in the earlier session. So I'm not going to repeat everything. So this one is completed. So go to the dashboard and see here itself. Okay. Next job in queue is test. And test will start. Okay, test has started. You can see here, guys. The test has started. Okay, I hope you can see here. And once test is completed, okay.
Integration is in queue, I think.
Yes, integration is in queue. 1 second. Yeah, integration is in queue. Once integration starts,
integration is
the
running.
Next one will, yeah. After integration, what will be the next one? Code analysis.
Code analysis.
Code analysis will come to the queue, and code analysis completed. The next one will be Sonar Cube, quality gate, and other code analysis.
Yes, code analysis is in queue now.
Yeah, the next step. How do Jenkins know all these things? Because we have configured it in such a manner that after this
one job triggers the other job.
The next step. Yeah, let's.
I think code analysis is running now. After code analysis,
let's go to a job like the next job is Sonar code analysis. Let's go and see for ourselves how it is going on. Okay, go here. Okay, go to the console output and see how each job is running for yourself. The tests are run. Okay, it takes in the input, and if there are after the var file is there and the check style plugin XML file is available, it goes through the quality gates. Whether the quality gate passed or not, okay, it will go to see quality profile, how the quality profile is there. You can see whether the quality gets passed or not. Even to that extent, you can see that. Okay. So each stage goes through it. See, 7 files have been analyzed. Okay. Execution is success. Okay. Analysis total time is this. Analysis successful. Okay. That's the and once it is done, next job will be triggered. Okay. Okay. Quality gets next job deploy to Nexus. It is written here. See, trigger a new build of deploy to Nexus. And also see the post quality gates plugin build paused true. Okay. If it is failed, it won't trigger this job. Okay. That's how we have configured it. If the build is failed, then don't proceed to deploy to Nexus. But build is passed. Why? Because the quality gate threshold we have kept, like whether to it should be the bugs should be below 1000 bugs, or bugs should be less than 500 or 100 or 50 based on your client's expectations. We will do. So let's go to deploy to Nexus job and see. Nexus job has been deployed to Nexus completed. Okay. What is the time? Okay. Go here and we will physically verify whether that build is present. Remember this build ID 50. What is that? Sorry, 51. No, 51. This one is 51. So we'll go within the server, that is Nexus.
So can we see the repository in the Nexus server, sir? Artifact in the Nexus server.
See. Definitely. For that, we need to get the public IP of the Nexus server and go there. Nexus server, public IP, and go here. Okay. Nexus runs on 8081. So I'm going to that. Okay, great. Nexus repository manager is opening. Nexus repository has, what do you call, love-hate relationship with antivirus. Okay, so when you sign in, right, I will be providing the credentials and other things, but few antivirus, sometimes give some errors. You need to, not ignore, but give exception to that. Okay. I have not given any hard password, just for demonstration purposes. Don't ever do that in real world. Okay. Hope this will work. Okay. User signed in admin. If any, okay, my antivirus blocked it. No problem. I'm gonna add it to exception and then log in again. Before that, let me browse just to see for ourselves. Okay. Within this Nexus repository, we have 3 repositories. One is release repository. 1 second. I'm saying that this Sonar Nexus server is safe because it is not exposed. So I can add it to exceptions just for temporary demonstration purpose or for your testing purpose. So coming back, repository manager has what is the purpose, guys? To save our artifacts or repositories. Okay. Where does it say saves? We create certain, what do you call, folders kind of thing. We call it repos or repositories. Within the Logic Lab release folder, we will have all the artifacts. What is the date today? March 13th, right? Go to March 13th and let's see where does it we find it. Yeah, here. What is the build number? Remember?
51.
51. Is it the same or different? Nexus, 1 second. What is the build number, sir?
51.
March 3rd, and the timing, like see the timing here, or check that whether the same artifact is present or not. Okay, let's go to the console output, go to the ending. Okay, 2022. This is the naming convention which we have given, the date and the ID. Okay. It should be the same var file. Whether this var file is present or not, let's go and check.
Like a timestamp, so that the artifact will not be replaced in the next cycle.
Yeah. See, is this var file is present or not in this path?
Yes, it is available.
Yes. So from here onwards, okay. From here onwards, we will take the repository and deploy it to staging and other things. So we will be creating 3 repositories: one release, one snapshot, and one group, just to make sure that our repositories are safe and what do you call, fail proof or foolproof redundancy purpose. Okay, and then we'll go and we'll oops, 1 second. Yeah, what is the next job, guys? Where are we? No bills. All are completed.
I think all are completed by the time we have.
All are completed. Oh, fantastic. No problem. We can trigger again and we can see each job. What is there? Okay, let's trigger again and just wait. Where are we? Nexus. And the next job of Nexus is deploy to staging Ansible. That means that let's go to the console output and see that what has happened. In the staging job, we said that, hey, Ansible, take a particular artifact from Nexus. From where? From the Nexus. This is this artifact. This is the artifact. Is this the 51 Wali artifact?
Yes, yes. The member is 51.
Yes, yes. The Ansible will run the playbook, Ansible slide.yaml, take this artifact from our Nexus repository and keep it, and then configure the application server or the web server and then deploy that. Once it deploys, it copies that to the new root, and then once it completes the copying and backing up of old root folder, it says that, hey, job completed. Then proceed to the next build, that is software testing. Next, go to the testing job. Before that, okay, code analysis performing good. Once code analysis is completed, Sonar Cube will Sonar scanner code analysis will be completed, and then software testing job will trigger. Okay, I'm waiting for the software testing to be triggered. For that, we will open and load our Windows server. Okay, let's keep our hands ready. Okay, what I'm going to show you is that how Selenium test cases are getting executed. Can we physically verify or not? Yes, we can physically verify. How do we do that? We go to the Windows server. We log into the Windows server. Generally, in real world, we don't log into the Windows server. Just for for demonstration purpose, I'm going to show you how the Selenium test cases are whether executed or not. What is the proof that we are going to execute and other things? So take this IP. We have the RDP file ready. So you need to connect. You click on that RDP client, download the remote desktop file. I have already saved the password, so I'm not going to download everything again. So I have the thing in the download folder. So go to the downloads. Okay, my RDP file is here. I'm clicking on that. Once RDP the RDP connection establishes, yes, it will ask for password. Since I have incorporated the password, I've saved it, so it doesn't ask me. Now it is open, right? So this is the Windows server, guys. Okay, this is a new server which we have created using again user data. That is using a script. We have not manually installed Chrome. We have not manually created the necessary content. We have just used the user data script. I'm going to provide you. You are going to do the same. Okay, nothing complicated about it. After the code analysis completes, once again. Software testing. Okay. See, did I open Chrome here? Did somebody entered password here?
No.
No. Automatically it log in. Okay. Test complete. Again, the second, like it is just making sure that okay, the functionality that site is opening or not, the password entering is working or not, whether it is done, whether user is able to log in or not. It is just testing. Okay. Once it tests, right, it takes a screenshot, right? We will check whether the screenshots are available or not. Let's go to the servers thing and we will see whether. Okay. What is the date today? Today's date is 13th March. Okay. Today, 13th March. 4:36 is like now, like according to the Windows server time. Jenkins time. Okay, these are the screenshots that it successfully executed the test case and the result is visible here. And the same is present in the jobs thing also. After the software test case testing is completed, it would proceed to the deploy to prod Ansible. And what is the production? Prod means the production server. So let's manually log into the production server and see that the web application is visible or not. How do we check that? Go to the public IP of our production server and access it. Where is our production server? App01 crawl. What is this thing? Public IP. Go here, enter. We are logging with only 880 I have enabled for safety and other purpose. So whether yes, we are able to log, we are able to open the main thing, that is the production's web server application, the web application which we have deployed onto the production server. That means it is visible to everyone. If you guys want to go, like I can go, copy that just for yourself, guys. Go and where do I actually?
You can send it in the chat box.
Yeah, you can do that. You can let me know. Maybe I have opened it to the entire public or not. I have not verified the security group. Okay. The same ID. I have not changed anything. Just the default password. Oh, okay. It is taking some time. Let it take. No problem.
Probably close to 1,000 participants accessing the same application at a time.
Yes. Why? It might be a distract. Okay. It is saying that, hey, bro, it is not HTTP. Yes. I have not configured SSL anyway, but I understand the risk and please take me anyway, please. I'm requesting it, so it must take my request and yes, go please. Show my participant that I am able to log in.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm able to log in.
Perfect.
And there are few things like I can verify whether my messaging queue is working properly or not, whether my what is cache is working or not. But that's not the scope of this project, guys. The scope of this project is the beauty to understand whether entire pipeline is working properly or not. So to give you a small visual appeal, we can just create a new view and see. Voila, we can look like this. Each stage, whether it is processing or not. Like for example, when click on run, this job runs, and whether it is completed, how is it performing? We can just see the overview everywhere. From here onwards, from single window, we can see everything. Like we can see the console window, and if we don't want, we can close it. Whether all the tests are happening properly or not, we can check and verify from here itself. This is a simple pipeline plugin. You can install it and have a good view into your project and into your demonstration. And real world, they're going to use similar plugins only, guys. Not much different. Jenkins didn't upgrade like iPhone. It has similar functionality. Maybe the plugins have certain bugs and vulnerabilities. That is for a later scenario where I will explain. Whenever we have a session, Sunil, we will have a special session for understanding the risks and how to mitigate those risks in cloud environment and using plugins and open source plugins. We'll have some time later, anytime.
Sir, if possible, please give us a workshop on exclusively on Nexus repositories, if possible.
Nexus repositories, do you need a special thing? We will do that, no problem. But Nexus, as you know, it needs a 2 to 3 hour demonstration for that. I will provide that, no problem.
So is the pipeline running? So in which stage we are in?
Okay, it is in Sonar code. Sonar Cube, Sonar Scanner code analysis.
So let's wait for the complete jobs to be
completed. It is not refreshing as quickly as I have expected, but the code is running. The pipeline is running, and the good. If you make any changes in the code, you can trigger that automatically. That's how we can do that. Like, let me see that. I can show you from here onwards. Let me keep it.
So meanwhile, sir, please don't disturb. Let our participants see how exactly the pipeline.
No, I'm not. Oh, they want to see. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sonar Scanner code analysis completed. Now it should be triggering deploy to Nexus. Let it refresh.
Yes, okay. Nexus completed.
Nexus completed. It should be triggering deploy to staging.
Yes. Perfect.
7 seconds and counting. It is now right now as we speak deploying the artifact
into the
our
staging.
staging server. Yes, staging server. If you make any changes to the staging server web application, it should be visible. But we are not going to do that because we need to go to the source code management and we need to change the the necessary HTML file and the source code and other things. We're not going to do that. We are not developers. But yes, but guys, it is an interesting perspective.
Perfect. Testing
Always
is going
remember,
on.
these tools are not built for DevOps, guys. These tools. Hello. Sunil, anything is wrong? Did I press anything?
Sir, we have lost your voice for the last 1 minute.
Okay, where are we? At least, can you see my screen?
Please share the screen one more time.
I think I am.
Okay, you're not the host now. Sorry.
No. Oh, yeah. You made me the host. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Is
I'm
the jobs
sorry, really
completed?
sorry,
Perfect.
guys. Jobs are all completed, but you
Okay.
can.
Got it, sir. Everything is green.
Yeah.
Got it.
Did,
we can
did
also
anybody
see
tell
the
that whether
timestamps.
able to-
We can also see the timestamps 449, 450, 451.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. So this is what the entire project is about. What we have done is once again, just a second. What did we do? I'm going to explain. We did diagram. We took the code after the developers committed or already committed. We built it, ran unit tests, ran integration tests, and then we performed certain few more tests like code static code analysis, saved it into a Nexus Artifactory, and then deployed it to a staging. And from staging, we performed again a certain Selenium test case, automation test cases, and then we proceeded with our deployment towards production. This is a continuous deployment, guys. Did you see anywhere me meddling with the pipeline anywhere to tell that, hey, no, right? Directly it is passing the stages or passing the test and getting deployed into staging and then again deploying into production, right?
Yes, seamless movement.
This is continuous deployment. For continuous delivery, only change we do is go to software testing, go to the configure, go to configure. Yeah, there is this projects to build, right? Trigger, parameterize, build on other projects. What we need to do, instead of that, we need to trigger a different thing. 1 second. Trigger, build. Okay, 1 second. Okay, since we have already selected that build action, it is not giving me. But generally, a manual step would be there. For example, let me create a new job and show you that. Okay, we don't save anything. Okay, new item. Okay, let it load. Let it name is like continuous delivery because we have already test. Okay, we are not going to test, but I'm going to show you just. I'm going to copy entire thing from my software test job. Okay, software testing job. Or we can, yeah, let's see. Okay. Otherwise, don't copy anything. Just create a new job. Okay. Let me create a new job. This way, job to copy. No, yeah, I'm not copying anything. Okay. See delivery test. Okay. Delivery test. Create a freestyle project. Okay. I'm not copying anything. go to the end, add a post build action, and then from there you need to build other projects manual step. We need to select the project name and add parameters. Once we add these parameters, you will get an option whether to trigger or not, and it triggers. That's it, guys. Okay, I'm not going to do that. The basic stuff, so you all can do. Fine, then we will. That's what we have done. We have do this. We have explained the theory background again. And we have shown you how the jobs get executed, how configured each job, how we create. Like, I have not explained you the creation of servers, but the document explains creation of each server, because if I start explaining creation of each server, it will take 2 days. Okay, so but when you execute, religiously follow the steps and troubleshoot, explore more whenever you face a failure. For example, as I mentioned, you might simply in the web server, there might not be Python properly configured. You might need to install Python by yourself. So there are basic requirements to this project. You need to know how to log into SSH into a machine and like that basic stuff. I hope, Sunil, most of the participants might know that, right? Yeah. So let's open the floor to the participant for their questions to be answered.
Yes.
What do you say?
Yes, sir. It's time. Before wrapping up, let's have an interaction with many of the participants. One more quick recap, my dear participants. As Logic Labs organization, we always strive to give you the best of the knowledge to help you to make your careers. Okay, so I hope you are experiencing the efforts behind.
Yes. As I have promised to few of the participants that I will be telling the Docker and other things. So 5 minutes we will allocate, guys. Okay. First things first. All these softwares are called virtual machines. Sorry, servers are called virtual machines. That means you have a separate OS for each of it and shared hardware for all of these things, because there will, in Amazon data centers, there will be a very big a rack server or some sort of thing where the hardware is being shared between different clients. That's why we call multi-tenant public cloud. You don't have a single tenant. Single tenant means the entire server for yourself. No, you can't afford. Even organizations won't do that. Like a medium and small scale organizations can't do that. So these are all VMs. But remember, when I have to boot a virtual machine, means start a server, it takes some time to boot up, right? And there are configurations. Configuration might change. So in order to avoid all this stuff, the next level of virtualization is called containerization. Actually, containerization is not at all the scope of this topic, this demonstration, but I'll give you a quick overview of what VMs and containers do. Containers are, a single package where all the dependencies and everything packed into a lightweight version. For example, this is the web server, right? What does it have? It has a var file. It has a OS like CentOS or Ubuntu, and there are some dependencies like libraries and other things configured like Python and other softwares. Like if I have to create another exactly like this web server, what I have to do? I have to take a or launch more like this or something. I have to take an image, a snapshot, and from that image I can launch more things like or launch more like this, launch instances from template like that. But how much time it would take? It would take at least 5 minutes to boot up and create and everything, or at least 2 minutes, guys. But what if we want? What if we can create in seconds? That's what the beauty of container. Container is a lightweight version of these VMs itself, but the operating system, entire operating system will not be there. But so without operating system, how will it run? It will run based on the operating system's kernel based on the host machine. So again, if you don't understand, don't worry, Google it, you will understand it. There are beautiful videos out there who will explain both in your mother tongue and English if you prefer. So these containers are created using a tool called containerization tool. We have Docker, we have n number of containerization tools which can help us in creating containers. So once containers are created, for containers to be created, we need something called a template. We call it image. From image, we can run n number of containers as we like. Containers are just, if image is a blueprint, containers are dynamic runtime environment of the of those images. So so basically, this is what containers about. And Kubernetes is like orchestration tool. That means that if there are 10 containers available, and if you are, let's say you are running all those 10 containers from a single CPU, we call it a node. If the node has CPU issues and these things, it has to automatically trigger a new node and copy some of the containers or replicas of those containers. Who will do the job? You don't manually do that, right? For that, we need to have a container orchestration tool. That is what Kubernetes is all about. Kubernetes just maintains, not only maintains, it's a very powerful tool which allocates and diversifies and security wise and fault reliability, elasticity. For all these purposes, Kubernetes is designed for the for quick and delivery of those containered applications. Okay, that it from my side. If you don't understand, just Google it, guys. That's because containerization, Docker and Kubernetes is an entire ocean and entire thing altogether. But we definitely, Sunil, we will plan another session to deploy microservices based application into a like Azure containers. Or
we will love to do it, sir. Anything for the participants, anything for the career, we are always ready. Okay.
Oh, sure. Because I want to share you in. I'm working as a senior technical lead for one of the CM in my level 5 organization. We are running Azure managed container service, and we are deploying our application into this Azure Kubernetes environment. And this is exciting, in the real world stuff which you work with is beautiful. And for that, knowing this demonstration and understanding this demonstration is a perfect starting step, because today you might not be deploying in all the applications, in all the companies, they might not be using Tomcat. But if you are an experienced DevOps engineer for 2 to 3 years, that means 3 years back, microservice architecture is at the beginning. Most of the applications are running on Tomcat or other web servers. That means if they ask you in interviews, you must know that how are you deploying, in your previous project or in your first company or second company, how are you deploying into a web server? If somebody asks to verify whether you are a genuine candidate or not, you should be able to explain that, yes, I have did this. How I integrated Jenkins with my Tomcat server, how I deployed an artifact from staging, from Nextx artifact to staging environment. It is very important, and I hope that you will learn and gain insights from this session. With this, let's go to the
interaction. Probably this time, let's go with international participants, sir. We have Kenneth Nagale. You can search. Oh, you are the host. You can search with the alpha K. You can search with the letter K.
Hey, Kenneth, please unmute and please.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Kenneth.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. My question is for Sunil, however. Sunil, I'm one of your very new candidates, and I'm so new. I'm just trying to find out, like, we are still doing Linux commands. Are we going to have the opportunity to have a presentation like this when we get advanced as well?
So these kind of presentations, we plan it every 45 days or every 2 months, probably definitely one presentation. So as you are now beginner, by the end your batch gets completed, we'll come up with one more presentation. Don't worry. Meanwhile, focus on learning the concepts what we are learning in our training. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was just my question.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, sir, for the presentation. Very good.
It's my pleasure, Kenneth. Like the aspirants like you and the future DevOps professionals like you keep me motivated to creating beautiful demonstrations like this. Of course, thanks, Sunil. Always.
Sir, in the month of February, 16 success stories are reported. 16 participants in the February batch got placed. Maybe freshers or for experience, whatever it is. We have 15 success stories reported. There will be few stories which are not reported also, sir. So just a statistical analysis of exactly we are going on, and
Great. I wish all the participants. Yeah.
Our dream is our Logic Labs organization should be the one point of contact for who wants to have their career in cloud, especially in cloud and DevOps.
DevOps, definitely. Sure. I wish all the participants best of luck. Let's go to the participant.
Yes.
Some random like Sujata Sagar. Miss Sujata, you can unmute and please ask your query.
Hi Vijay sir, hi Rajesh sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. First time I'm attending your session, so it's really nice for new who is trying to learn AWS and some new technologies. So can I get access of your old AWS recording?
You're talking about session recordings or
Yes,
AWS
yes.
course? You mean to say our AWS course is 25 days? You're talking about the 25 recordings?
Yes.
Yeah, please send. You have our support mail, I think, Sujata. It is support@logiclabs.com. Send an email saying that you want to buy the full set of videos of AWS. Our team will respond to you.
Finally, they ping me. I block my.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Sujata.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I will.
Please mute. Sujata, please mute.
Yeah. Mr. Chandrasekhar, could you please unmute and ask your question? Chandrasekhar Guduru.
Let's go with the next participant, sir.
Amarjit Parida. Amarjit, are you available? If you are, then please unmute and ask your question. I'm just giving a chance to the participant who have not got their queries answered, so that.
Yeah, hi sir.
Hi Amarjit.
Yeah, good morning, sir. So this is my first session actually, because I am little, means I am not aware exactly how the thing is going on. So I just understand how the pipeline is working, but coding part, all these details, I am not aware. So maybe it will take some more time to understand the courses.
Yes, Amarjit. Yeah. I mean, this training is for participants who have completed the AWS and DevOps course. Once they have completed this training, and for more practical oriented, this session was conducted. As you are still not yet completed the DevOps and AWS course, isn't it, Amarjit? Once you do it, you will be more comfortable attending this kind of practical sessions. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jyoti, please mute yourself. Miss Jyoti Uttarwar, can you ask your question?
Yes. Hi, Sunil, and hi, Vijay. It was a fantastic project.
Okay.
My question is that what Git branching strategy you have used? Like that question we will get in interview.
Yes, true. Generally, a typical Git branching strategy looks like this. There will be a master branch. Generally, we won't use master even. We will have a sprint specific branch. Okay, sprint is nothing but a certain work out of the whole project. Like whole project is a big project. A certain part of the project we will take it. We call it a sprint based on agile methodology, and this thing we take small part is sprint. For the specific sprint, we might create a branch, and then once we create a branch for the sprint, each developer will check out to that branch and create their own feature branches. Once feature branches are created, they will commit the changes. They will raise a pull request. For example, let's say we need to create a whole Amazon web application. For this sprint, we need to create let's say Amazon login page. For that, I will create. There are 4 developers who will create 4 functionalities. Let's say first in the login screen, what will be available? Username, password. One developer will create username field. Another developer will create password field. Let's say both of them create the functionality or the necessary code required, and they will commit the changes and raise a pull request. Pull request is to say that, hey, your immediate supervisor, whoever code reviewer is there, to tell that, hey guys, or to the whole team, hey guys, I have done the changes, committed this. You need to review them and merge these things to the main branch so that these changes which I have done or the functionality which I have done will be incorporated into the main application. So you take the pull request, and if they go through the feedback, okay, he might say that review again. He or she might say that review this code again. Or they may approve the pull request and merge it with the whatever branch, the sprint branch or main branch, whichever branch they have. And from the main branch, what do we DevOps engineers do? We will have our own branch generally. Typically, we will merge this branch automatically. Based on polling or based on different methodologies, we will merge or we will not merge manually or automatically. Once we merge to our branch, we make sure that our pipeline gets triggered, okay, based on the merge, like that. This is the branching strategy, typical basic branching strategy. Did that answer your question?
Yes, Vijay. Yes, thank you.
Okay, very great. Yeah. Please mute yourself, and then
probably 2 more calls.
Yeah, Vasudev. Mr. Vasudeva Rao, could you please unmute and ask your question, please, if you are available? Okay, Mr. Vasudeva Rao is not responding, so let's see. Okay,
Vasudeva Rao is responding now.
Hey, hi, Mr. Rao.
Hi, Sunil and Sharma sir. Thank you for your session.
Great.
Yeah, right now I'm part of this AWS batch 85. I mean, I'm not yet joined for DevOps. I have one question here. Yeah, in the last step, you have showed these steps, right? This deployment, testing, that Nexus and all coming, everything green, each step by step. So that is done as part of this Jenkins pipeline process, or you have added certain steps to make it go one by one?
Okay. I have already explained this. Generally, we need to configure which job to be executed after this immediately. I have told that add a step at the end, like post build action, to trigger it. Okay, this particular configuration will tell Jenkins that which job to build next. This will happen as per our configuration. But in order to view like this, to see like this visual appeal, you need to install a plugin called build pipeline. That's it. Nothing more than that. You just need to install a plugin that will show how just view it visually how one job is proceeding to the next job. That's it. Otherwise, you can see lively from here also, build queue and build execution, and here also you can see. That would be sufficient.
Yeah. Okay. Just it's normal query. Actually, I'm based out of Hyderabad. I just want to, if possible, meet you in person.
Vasudeva Rao, I hope you know we always have a meetup programs probably every 45 days. I hope you know it or are aware of it. We are planning to have a meetup program probably in this month or probably in the beginning of the next month. Okay, you can meet us.
Sunil. Yeah.
Every 45 days we'll have a meetup programs. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Sunil. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasudeva.
Okay, please mute yourself. So that we'll go to the next person. Satyapriya Mishra. Hey, Satyapriya, you can unmute and ask your questions.
Yeah, Sunil, actually, I have a good question. That is how deployment is done in staging and how it is quite different from deployment in production, and where we can put or place this testing part before deployment in staging, or there will be another testing done after deployment is completed in staging before release in production.
Yes,
so your question is specific to this context. I think Sharma will answer this.
Yeah. So Mr. Mishra, so as I understood, so your question is that why there are the first question is that the deployment to staging and deployment to prod both are same or different. First question is that, right?
Yeah, that's the question.
For this demonstration purpose, both are same. We are picking from the same Nexus repository, and the purpose of keeping a repository is the same, because whatever the build you are deploying to the staging environment, if the build is successful and ready and good, healthy, and it is performing well, the same build will pick from the same repository and deploy it to production. Only the server and the minute things will change. And to cater to your second question, that is like, why are you testing again after staging, right?
Yeah. Why the testers need to test again after the staging process?
Yeah. Let me come to that question. See, in staging, what did I say again and again? It should be identical to the production. That means that once your application goes live, That means, let's say Gmail or any application goes live, n number of users will connect to it, and then under pressure and under stress, how it performs. And whenever certain version changes or upgrades happens to the minute libraries or plugins, even a small Maven plugin might change, build fails, these things happen. So we want to make sure that the staging environment should be foolproof and ready. Only then it should be upgraded, that build should be deployed to the production. For that, we do all the rigorous testing on staging. That's why that's okay. Did that answer your query so that we can proceed to the next person? Please mute yourself.
Yeah, Vijay, answer to my question. Basically, we do functionality testing or functionality as well as performance testing in the staging part.
Good question. Certain clients require user acceptance and sanity testing. They are like functionality. And yes, we perform other testings also as per requirement.
Okay.
The QA, probably the QA head will be the decision maker to go with what kind of testing depending upon the application.
Yeah, and also the tech briefs which are shared with you, the documentation, the client expectations, and there will be a hell number of when we go to the real world, you know, right? There will be a lot of approvals and processes to be followed based on this decisions will be taken.
All right, Vijay, I got it.
Okay, yeah, great. Shall we proceed to the next participant, Sunil?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the end of the queue so that there will be a number of people. People might be thinking probably they will never get their chance. No, who is the last person?
Now the hands are more raising.
Yogesh is completed, right? So
shall we go with Andrew Bannon, again the international participant?
Andrew Bannon, okay, please Andrew, yeah. Why promoting him? I don't understand. Allow to talk is not available because Andrew Bannon is using an older version of Zoom.
Okay, let's go with other one.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry. Okay, Ajay Babu or someone. Yeah, Ajay Babu, you can ask and.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. And when we are speaking about that CI/CD pipeline, means it is a continuous process, and I mean series of operation from one stage to another.
Yes.
Yeah, while we are doing that, if any one of the stages getting failure, means then automatically the remaining stages, I mean, it can't process, right?
No. Yes, correct. No, it won't happen.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, due to a shortage of time, I didn't explain. But in the Sonar Cube, if I am not wrong, yeah, in the logic gates, I have kept the value as 1000. Let's keep as 10. Okay. Let's say, okay, update condition, and now run the build, it will fail because there are almost like 80 bugs are there in the present code. Okay, so let's go and then it will fail now. See, we are deliberately failing the pipeline to just show you that it won't proceed to the next stage.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, it will fail at this phase. Okay, because it won't pass this one. So within the meantime, we will go to the next participant.
And one more thing, I want to convey my thanks to Sunil sir, because of his AWS classes. Now I cracked the interview in Wipro, and next
congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that.
Congratulations, Ajay. You are an inspiration to many of the aspirants here who want to become DevOps engineers and DevOps professionals and future solution architects also.
Yes,
okay. All the best to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Jay, if you are happy, please refer our training institute to your friends.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir. I'll right now. My 10 of my friends are already joined in the classes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir Sharma, sir, let's go with international participant Omatonde Tosin.
Where is she?
OMO.
Is she has raised her hand? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Omatonde, you can. Okay. Okay, guys, just a second. Let me show. Okay, still it is reaching, right? So, Omatonde, can you speak? Hello, did we ask her? Omatonde, you can unmute and you can ask your queries if at all you have any. Okay. And the other guys, observe the Sonar scanner code analysis. It is going to fail because we have kept a condition to fail the job if the bugs are more than 10. Hello, am I audible? Sunil,
Yes,
am I
yes,
audible?
you are audible.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I got a doubt. Umatonin is not responding. So we'll go to the next participant. No problem.
Yes.
Okay. Komeno Guase. Is he? How do you spell? I'm really sorry. Kome. If I am spelling your name incorrectly, I'm really sorry. Mumin Awasi is no, they didn't raise his hand. So let's go to persons who have raised their hands. Okay. In the meantime, let's show that. Okay. Okay. Even there are no 10 bucks or maybe the quality.
Probably less than 10 bucks. The developer
Okay,
is
no
doing a
problem.
perfect coding. So as a
No,
DevOps
there are
engineer,
some
my dear participants, as a DevOps engineer, not only just delivering using the automation Jenkins to make it fast, so we are also making sure that the quality is also perfectly tested. So it's all about improving the quality and improving the speed, isn't it, Sharma?
Yes, yes, definitely.
I
We are
think
not debugging yet. Yeah, we are not debugging anything, but I just wanted to prove my point that yes, if a particular what do you call one of the jobs fails in the pipeline, the future jobs will not proceed. That's what I wanted to make a point. Nothing more than that. Like for example, you can.
Amatanda is now ready to talk.
Okay.
Sunny. We can hear you.
Hi.
I think it's very odd time for you. What time for you now? At midnight?
This is about 5 a.m. in Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Your question, please.
So my question is that what I'm costing from network. So what advantage do I have? I don't know. This is my first time on AWS. I started a class with you about 15 days now.
You have to complete the DevOps course also, Tosin, not only just AWS. Okay. For these kind of project sessions, you have to first complete the AWS course and then complete the DevOps course and then be perfect in whatever you're learning, and also gain knowledge with this kind of project sessions, so you'll be ready for job. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the pleasure.
Great. So guys, let's say for some odd reasons our staging server is not responding, or it is down. Let's check whether job will proceed or not. I'm just deliberately stopping it so that to prove a point that after this stage or deploy to staging, it will fail and it will not go to software testing. I'm giving it a run. In the meantime, we will ask the other participant to join. Okay.
Probably Sharma, I think we can take 2 more calls. That's
yeah.
all.
Yeah. Okay. Lalit Singh. Lalit Singh, you can ask your question.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for all this session. So it is very good session. So I have some questions. It is related to this Jenkins. So 2-3 questions I have. First question, let's suppose one user comes to it, means admin user, by mistake he executed something, right? So it will go on, right? There is no way we can stop. So there is chances of because it is all automatic. I think you are understanding what I'm trying to say. It is all automatic in the sense. So if something goes wrong, if any code is wrong, then there will be lot of disaster, right?
Yeah.
So how we can handle this situation?
Great.
And second thing, what is the best practice we will follow in this pipeline? And third question, is there any disadvantage for all these Jenkins because all automatic? So these are my questions. Thank you.
To cater your first question, if somebody accidentally triggers a pipeline, that will not happen in the real world. Why? I will explain it by answering the second question. So coming to the first question, you asked that if somebody accidentally triggers a thing, how would we stop it, or what will happen? This is the first question. So okay, there is we don't want to run this job. You can immediately stop it here. If you feel that it is safe, okay, you can directly go here and stop the job, whichever stage it is. I can stop it from executing like this. I don't want to deploy to Nexus. I can stop it to deploy to Nexus. It will stop here itself. But I just want to demonstrating that it will fail at deploy to staging will fail now because I have switched off the server. So it will fail here after deploying to staging because that way you can stop the execution at manually. One thing is that. Second question, see, the deploy to staging stop and software testing and deploy to production will not proceed. Why? Why? Because the server is switched off. This is for the earlier person's answer question that what will happen when job fails? It will fail and the remaining will not proceed. So that answer is complete. So for your question, once it is triggered and you want to stop it, you can simply stop it from here. That is the simple thing. And the next thing, once let's say that you didn't even observe, 10 minutes has passed and the entire pipeline has proceeded and the deployment happened already. What will you do? You can roll back the deployment to the production. How do we roll back? You change the Nexus repository ID. For that, I will go here. Let me go to the prod Ansible. Here, this is a parameterized project. Okay, let's click here. Build with parameters, right? If I don't want to automatically run and want to run only this project, you can build from here. I will click here. Build parameters. I will see. I will go to the Nexus server. Is that Nexus server? Yeah, here is my Nexus server. Okay, cancel. Go to the repository and see which is the last but one. What is the not the immediate one, but the one before that. That build I will choose and I will manually incorporate that. But in real world, we will have a rollover job also available. But I have not made complex or over complicated this demonstration. Just for simplification purpose, I have kept this demonstration simple, minimum. But if you want to roll back, you have the artifacts here. You just deploy the previous artifact.
So that is the advantage of maintaining the Nexus repository.
Yes, versioning
is very important. If the client does not maintain versionings of the artifact, that will be a very big problem.
You mentioned that parameters here and deploy that. That would be sufficient. And finally, what is the best practice? Yes, coming to that, that won't happen in real world because we maintain something called authentication. In authentication, we maintain that who has what level of access. We can create a new user and there are matrix based and project based access controls. Means if a developer want to access, we will give minimal permission to access only his particular project based builds, right? Okay. Is the person who asked the question, is he available?
Yes, I am available.
Lalit, I thought I lost you, Lalit, or you lost me. I don't know.
No, I am here.
Okay, so Lalit, did you have I answered all your questions or anything is left?
Yeah, you have answered all my questions. One more query I have. So planning is main important as I understand here. If we plan properly, then it will be smooth. Otherwise, if in planning there is some mistake, then it will not properly, right? Planning is more important.
Yes, correct. Planning always precedes the execution, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So Sunil,
thank you.
Yes.
How much bandwidth do we have?
One more call. That will be the last call.
Okay. Jayanti, did we talk to this participant earlier, Jayanti? No, right?
I think we have talked with Jayanti. I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. Did we talk to Pooja Reddy?
Lalit, could you please mute as your turn is done?
Just yeah.
Thank you.
Gertrude Chi, like some. Hey Chi, can you unmute and ask your question?
Hi Shama.
Hi.
Thank you very much for the session. It's been a wonderful one. Please, I have some few questions for you.
Yeah.
My first question is to know what are some of the security practices we can take into consideration when setting up our CI/CD pipeline.
Okay. And anything else?
Yes. And then I've always heard about the blue-green deployment, and I was hoping to hear you mention it, but I didn't. So I don't know if you could throw a little light about it.
Okay, sure.
Right. And then my
Right.
last question would be, now, how does Jenkins know that the code that the developers have actually committed the code at the level of the source code repository?
Okay, no problem. To answer your first question, how do we secure our Jenkins pipeline? Right, that is the first question. What is the best practice? Okay, there are different levels of Jenkins. Can I address you as Chi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, see, Chi, there are different levels of security. First one is code level. Whether accessibility to code is secure or not means nobody can access my Jenkins workspace and these things. Okay. For that purpose, we make sure that the system, the server where the Jenkins is hosted is hardened, means no access from outside and only access from a bastion host like that. The system level access, and then network level access. We implement security groups and other things, and then code level. Who has access to access this application? I have answered Lalit's question also. Like, we don't give access to all the developers. We only give to the particular owner of that delivery or of that sprint or something like that. We give only access, and that to granular access. We use the terminology granular access to mention that whatever the required least privileges or authentication necessary, we give only that much. We won't give more than that. We don't want anyone else to meddle with our system. This is one level. And then we have certain plugins. Plugins at different levels to secure our pipelines and plug in our vulnerables. But always remember, Jenkins is an open source tool, right? So we don't have premium levels support like how we expect from Red Hat. So we always have to be checking with this thing. Okay, this is the notification center, and they will mention what are the vulnerabilities available in particular plugin which we have installed. So we need to make sure that those vulnerabilities are plugged in and we are ready to use that plugin. Those vulnerabilities should be fixed, and only then in production environments we won't use any plugin, or mostly we will not try to use a plugin which has vulnerability, because that would always lead to cyber attacks and not all nefarious things. So these are some ways we secure our Jenkins pipeline. And to cater your second question, what was that?
The blue-green deployment.
Blue-green deployment. Like, yeah, let's say there are 100 servers where you are deploying your application into, right? Those 100 servers are split across the world, right? Okay. And you want to make sure that if the build somehow, like because of any eventuality, fails, okay, even though after rigorous testing in staging and after going through all the process, even though it fails, and the users in all the locations should not miss the application, or it should not be a downtime for all the geographies. So for that, what do we do in real world, in production environments? We deploy to n number of machines first. Let's say 10 machines will be selected, or at least traffic or least demanded geography will choose, and we will deploy it first to those 10 servers in those small geography. Like, let's say we'll deploy it to like somewhere in Australia, or in Eastern Europe, or somewhere where the demand is less as of at that time, or that time zone. Okay, based on that we will select and we will deploy some machines, and we feel that it is working perfectly fine, then we roll over to that, we expand and spread it, and we deploy in a stages way gradually to all the machines. So when this happens, right, all the machines will not have similar versions simultaneously, right? It won't have. So some will have older version, some will have newer version. That's why like blue, green, and canary deployments and all is about like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did I answer all your questions?
No, do I remind you of the last one? That how does Jenkins know that the code has been sent to GitHub?
Yeah. Okay. Let me show you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah. Here there is thing called trigger. 1 second.
In the build triggers tab.
Yeah, build triggers. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, one second. In the build triggers, let me. Okay, in the build triggers, we have. There are multiple ways of letting Jenkins know that you have committed. Basic one will be telling that always by giving your cron job, you can schedule it. Tell that after every 1 minute or after every 5 minutes, you check and poll. If there is any commit happen, you run the job. Okay, that is one way. Or you can configure webhook. Webhooks are something like, you know, you have some small hook linked from hook is like a link from connection from Jenkins to your source code, GitHub or Bitbucket, and then you configure the webhook there in the Bitbucket, origins from the Bitbucket, and whenever any commit happens, it will trigger the webhook, and webhook pulls what do you say, the job gets triggered and it will flow. So there are many ways or you can simply say that I don't want to complicate things. Every day, morning once, afternoon once, evening once, build it. You can do it periodically like that. Anyways, you can do that.
Okay.
And
thank you so
yeah. Thank you, Shi, for your questions. And Sunil, I hope that
yes,
we have answered enough participants, but I really hate to miss all these participants, but we don't have much time. We already crossed our timeline, and yeah, like that.
Yes, thank you, Sharma sir, on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of Logic Labs Technologies, for your efforts, for the knowledge transfer which you have from your industry level. Okay, and thank you, my dear participants. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Sharma sir, we're looking forward to many these kind of KT sessions, which helps in making the careers.
Sure, guys. I'm always looking forward to share the knowledge before it becomes useless, because now I can share with you after 5 years. There is no point in explaining, because by then you would have got a new technology. Jenkins would be much better updated. So what I always strive is that, you know, learn and then practice hands-on. Only by practicing you learn things and understand and remember things. So practice much. We will share you the document. Don't pressurize Mr. Sunil for document. You will get it. As soon as possible. There are some nitty-gritties need to be ironed out, and you will get it. Sunil will share with you. Is it right, Sunil?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Mr. Sunil will be sharing the document with you, and take the document, understand it, and follow it religiously. Means exactly how it is mentioned. But if you find any defects and other things, please Google, and if you find that your configuration is slightly different, then modify your configurations and accordingly explore more. And always remember, no document and no configuration, nothing is perfect. So you will face some difficulties. Be prepared to Google out and explore Stack Overflow and troubleshoot, because in real world, nobody is going to help you, right? That's why. So, but we will be available at a mail away. So mail your queries after doing your homework, and then we will be able to cater to your needs. And thank you so much, Sunil and guys, for giving me this opportunity to share some of the things which I have learned in my career, and future. I will be sharing with you what we might be doing, which we are doing in our real world projects, like with microservices and different cloud providers like Azure and other things. Hopefully, Sunil, we would look forward to many other beautiful, knowledgeable, insightful sessions from both of us.
Yes, we are always open. Thank you, Sharma. As you are the host, you can now end the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a nice weekend, and let's call it a day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sunil sir. Hello.
Ms. Jayanti.
Yes, Jayanti. Please.
Sir, I have one question. Actually, we completed both AWS and DevOps batch from your sessions only, but you are started that
Terraform. Yeah, you'll get the update. Okay, the existing batch Terraform meeting link, you'll get it. Okay, you can join.
Can we get those Terraform?
Yeah, we'll be sharing it to you. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jayanti.
Thank you.
All the existing old batches participants, they get the Terraform access. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend, and have a wonderful time with your family, and learn and practice. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye.